Anyways, today we're going to fix Windows. Windows will be fixed. There's a couple big things happening with Windows specifically. They are removing Shift F10 and skipping the out-of-box experience by creating a local account. So, a lot of people says, hey, it forces you to create a Microsoft account. Well, the thing about Windows is there's always another way. And I think we need to look at MicroWin at a way of doing like an unattended local account setup, which we can do, because they can't remove that functionality fundamentally from Windows. No matter how much they want to force everybody to create a Microsoft account, it's impossible for them to actually force it upon you. So a lot of YouTubers right now are kind of sensationalizing this. I think I saw something from Window from Level 1 Techs and Gaming Nexus saying, hey, it'll move to possibly a subscription service or force the creation of the thing. And that's not actually true, as this is like my wheelhouse when it comes to getting rid of this. Unattended installs will always be able to create these types of things, specifically because of the business realm of things, especially like on pro Windows installs. They have to have a way to do domain joins because so many businesses use Active Directory local domains that are not tied to Microsoft accounts. So they can't fundamentally remove it. They can only hide it. So the hidden way of getting around it using Shift F10 has been removed in the latest version of Windows. However, we can program more stuff in to just create another workaround. So that's what we're probably going to look at today. We'll also look at a whole bunch of pull requests with Windows Utility and some other stuff. So, it should be fun. It should be fun. Oh, hey, congrats on 45, Tech Zero. Midlife crisis. Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, I'm only 42, man. So you only got me beat by a couple years. Yeah. Well, so the unplug the internet Mola basically would be in a home environment will basically not set up the system. So even with a no internet, the newer version of Windows, and we probably should verify this, won't be able to do it. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to actually get to Linux Toolbox or Linux Utility today. I think we're going to do Windows. So that should be pretty cool. But Thursday, I think Linux Utility will bounce over there, do some Rust work, look at the PRs and other stuff. Should be fun. Yeah, we do have some PRs to look at in Linux or the Windows Utility. And looking at some of the contributions, some of them have kind of gone a little wild. And I was like, man, I know they've poured a lot of work into some of these PRs, but a lot of them that I was looking at, I was like, ooh, this should have been multiple PRs. And some of them will probably actually get denied. So that'll be interesting. Also, another tidbit, we are on the front page of Twitch today. So Twitch actually approved for like a front page run for all of today. So any streams I do today, I think if you just go to twitch.tv without even clicking on me, I should be in that top rotating carousel. So that would be pretty dope if that's the case. First time that's happened. I've been streaming for almost about a year now on Twitch. Actually, a little bit longer, but consistently for about a year. Oh, nice. Look at that. So, all right, sweet. We're on the front page. Well, let's get into this. Let's pull up old GitHub and take a peek, because we talked about code signing, executables, and those types of things yesterday. And today, we're really going to go into this. Now, one thing about the Windows Utility I'll also say that's kind of wild is we've passed up Windows Subsystem for Linux made by Microsoft in GitHub stars. So we are actually at, if you look, we're actually at 18,000 stars on the project. Look at that. Almost 19,000. PowerShell Core, which is the biggest starred PowerShell project on GitHub, is only 20,000. So we actually will be probably the most popular PowerShell project in the world sometime this next year. Maybe by the end of the year at this rate. I mean, we've gained so many stars just in the past month, almost 2,000 stars. So it is kind of crazy. Yeah, but I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. So let's let's get in, look at our pull requests, see what we got for code contributions first. I've really looked at some of them. One big one I saw was removing Microsoft Edge. I know a lot of people like Edge now, but I still think it is the devil. I really hate Microsoft Edge, and we do have a contribution or a pull request where it does show it, so we will look at that. So let's pull up another VM as well. So we're actually going to jump over into the Linux side of things from Windows. We're going to go Virt Manager, Machine Manager, and I think what we'll do is actually pull in another, like we have a Windows 10 instance here, but I think we'll actually create another VM and do some testing as we go through the day and fix some of the ISO creation tools so we can totally fix Windows and kind of roll back the clock a little bit with some of the new shenanigans that have happened. How do you get rid of the obnoxious tab search button in Chrome? So yeah, this is actually not Chrome. It just looks like Chrome. This is actually Thorium, which I'm probably going to switch off of Thorium just because it's a little bit dated now. And I did a video on it because a lot of people don't like it. From a security aspect, Thorium's probably not the best because it doesn't get a ton of updates, but it's minimal, it's fast, it has AVX, I think it's AVX2, it was how it's compiled, at least the version I'm using. So it's just a bit faster than any other browser that I've used. So that's kind of what I like using for now, but I really hate all web browsers. It's such a dirty game, but one we have to play. So this was what I was talking about when we look at the uninstall Edge tweak. This is a refactor of a PS1 script that I started workshopping a while back. Now, I think if we look at it, this one's not too bad. It's just cleaning up some stuff. So I kind of want to check this out and test it on a new system as well. So let's do that. I think I actually approved this. Let's see. And no, actually. So this is one tweak. Somebody did this one, but I think we have another one in here as well. I want to say... maybe it got closed. Pull request. Yeah, this was it right here. This is the one I was looking at. So I'm going to actually look at this one. That other pull request looks like a duplicate. What will you move you from Thorium? It's really security concerns from not having the most up-to-date version of Chrome. Let's look real fast now that I've talked some smack. What is Thorium on right now? Let's look at the latest update, which... we go about Thorium. It's on 122. And then what version of Chrome is out? And this is 118, which we're on 122. Yeah, 127. So we're actually quite a few Chrome releases behind the main branch here. And if we look at Thorium on GitHub, we should be able to... oh, man. Yeah, we should be able to look at this. So let's pull it up. Where is its GitHub? GitHub stat. Yeah. Tarrant, thanks for the resub, man. Tier 1 for 7 months. Oh, man. So much fun. I'm really loving the streaming, though. I definitely will probably be going full-time. All right, let's just look it up. GitHub Thorium. Because I know I've seen the Thorium GitHub project. What do the commits look like on here? And we have a Windows 7 branch, too. We have commits 41 minutes ago. And 124 is actually out already. So maybe it's not that bad. He's still working on it. So it does run a couple revisions behind. I'll keep Thorium for now. And he's still working. I like Alex. Fixing Windows. Do we have until the end of time? Yeah, it's an endeavor. It's more about the journey than the destination when it comes to fixing Windows. It's not something that you just fix it once and it's done. I think a lot of people, when they run like my utility and fix it, so to speak, they think, okay, I'm done. But once you do another feature update, you have to fix it again because every feature update will re-bloat things up and break things, or actually fix it in Microsoft's terms. We just have to undo what they did. So yeah. But let's try this one out. I want I want to see, do we have Edge on here? We do have Edge. Okay, cool. Let's merge this because I believe the commit here is just to a PS1 file, Edge removal PS1. Let's run it and see how it goes and just look at the code, because I'm kind of curious, because I think we're going to have to change a few things. Specifically, I kind of want to add a redirect. So when you're on the start menu and you're like, hey, take me to christitus.com, and you click it, instead of it pulling up Edge, sorry to flashbang y'all, but instead of doing that, I really want it to go ahead and redirect to my default web browser. And I think if you're in Europe and overseas as well, they got sued and they were forced to change that. But here in the States, it still works as Edge is the only thing. Now, there is another GitHub project if you want to do this without using anything I have. There's something called MS Edge Redirect, and it's pretty old, I think. When was the last commit? 3 months ago. We could also use this in combination with what we're doing, because it's pretty up to date, and it does have a Wingit and a Scoop install. And I think that's probably what I'd go with. About 4,000 stars, pretty reputable project, and I've used them in the past. So we could combine both of these steps to finally get rid of Edge and have a proper redirect without having to reinvent the wheel. How much better would Windows be if Explorer was decoupled from everything? Oh man, Tarrant, Explorer is so baked in. There's a couple ways you can actually do what you're asking. It actually came out about 10 years ago. There was something called Microsoft Server Nano Edition, and they've changed that now. I think it's now called Microsoft Windows Server Core Edition. I might get the terminology wrong here. And it is essentially a CLI only based Microsoft Windows without Explorer baked in. And I know that because I actually thought, hey, what about having like a custom Steam gaming box on like a mini PC and doing it in Windows? And I thought, hey, let me try Windows Server Core. I was going to do a video on it on YouTube, but inevitably it doesn't work because Explorer is not in there, and Explorer is a massive dependency for a lot of video games and other software on Windows. And it's just such an integral part of the system that you can't necessarily ever get rid of it. So it would be cool if it was decoupled from everything, but sadly it's just so ingrained and baked into it that there's no way you'll ever remove it, other than, you know, the server core style systems. But you're extremely limited in what you can do on that system then. Yeah, CLI Windows is a thing, Luke. I probably won't dump Thorium today. We're gonna stay on it. In the Mission Impossible stream. We're gonna get there. All right, so first order of business, let's see how this does with Edge. I want to try this new script, and we probably are gonna be changing a few things in it. But let's fetch and pull down any changes on WinUtil and run it. So let's get rid of Microsoft Edge and see what happens with the script. So first, we're gonna go into an administrator PowerShell prompt. Then let's go over to WinUtil. We have this. We have the new Edge removal. So we're just going to run it directly. Now, let's go PS1. And let's see what happens. Now, we have some things. This is okay, because usually, let's look through each error. First, failed to stop process widgets, widget service, WebView 2. So right here, it's just doing stop processes. And I want to say we should do like an if statement, check that. So we'll clean that up a little bit. Failed to process clipchamp. I don't think that's actually a dependency of Edge. I could be wrong there. And then for the remove registry entries, we should have a verified check to see if the path already exists before trying to wipe it out. We did successfully remove all that. And now we have set these in. So let's run, and we've already tried to launch Edge. It says everything's been removed. Is that the case? Edge is no longer in the Microsoft Edge. Nothing there. All right. So if we type christitus.com, what does this pull up? It still pulls up Edge. That is Microsoft Edge. So this script does not work. I didn't think so. I have tested your website on pagespeed.web.dev. It show not good. What is my website at? Right now it's my website's pretty basic. So this is my website. This is actually built in Hugo. This is a static site. There's no actual database behind it. Everything's built in a static site generator and then uploaded to a CDN. So I think right now I'm using Cloudflare, but I've used Netlify in the past, and then it just distributes it. So it's pretty low, but I don't know. What do I usually use? Probably GT metrics. I don't know if you use that or not, but let's see, how slow is my site? Now that someone mentioned it in chat, I'm kind of curious. Is it like an F? Is it a C? Not that it matters, but you piqued my interest. They rewrote Glaze WM in Rust. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, we could do Microsoft Edge redirect is fine, Kang, but the main issue here is what about the big thing with that is Edge is still installed. Edge is still running. So a lot of YouTubers, what they like to do is they like to say Edge is the fastest browser, and then they're using Edge, right? You've seen those videos. Well, the thing about it is what they neglect to look at is if you look at like services, I think even in services.msc, you will find Edge is running in the background. I don't know if there's actually a labeled Edge services here. I don't think we're going to see it in like services.msc, but you will find it, especially in like just regular task manager under details tab. You will see like we don't have any Edge running in the background. Like let's close this out. I'm a C. I got some work to do on my performance on my website. Good to know though. But let's close this out, right? So we've closed our Thorium out. Guess what? Edge is still running. It runs by default. So all these speed tests a lot of YouTubers are doing, they're not realizing that what Microsoft is doing with every Windows install is it is running and installing Edge on startup. So Edge will outperform every browser because it's already running at the same time as they're doing these speed tests on other browsers. And that is maddening to me. So anytime I see a speed test with Edge #1, I'm like, yeah, because you're testing it in Windows. And by default, if they had not specifically gone in and ripped out edge.exe, msedge.exe, which you see here, it will actually degrade many other speed tests from other browsers where it'll give Edge the edge. Yeah, it's such a dirty, dirty thing that Microsoft has done, and it really makes me mad that it's kind of perpetrated online by so many people, and it's wrong. It's wrong. So yeah, Edge is not the fastest browser. Edge is simply a fork of Chromium with a bunch of spyware and additions by Microsoft added to it. If anything, it is slower. It's just you can't see the comparison because of how they conduct their tests. And most times it's done in Windows. So super important to know. Yeah, it's an arranged marriage. We're pretty much stuck with it. But we're gonna fix that. We're gonna rip out Edge completely. We're gonna edge it out. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. Telemetry. So Arthur is like, a spyware, can you elaborate? So typically you have a bunch of telemetry in Windows. And you can see some of these telemetry settings specifically in these. Let's see if we can pull up telemetry. So typically there's 4 different sections of telemetry. I don't think it'll show it here, but yeah, we're not going to see the telemetry data here specifically, but you can only pull back Windows to a security diagnostic setting. So let me find that setting for you. We'll go just pull up local group policy for you. Sorry for the flashbang. Here, let's go half screen so I'm not completely killing y'all. But just to show where telemetry is, I want to say we should be able to get in Windows components, and I can't remember. There's so many different spots for telemetry to reside, but there's one global setting that I always do in business and set it down to security where it should show. that diagnostic. Yeah, let me look that up real fast. Let's go. We're going to go to MS Telemetry, group policy. So in business, typically, we would always set this to do very little data collection and submissions. Really what happens, and you'll notice this ever since Windows 10 was installed, I could be sitting on my computer and then all of a sudden your hard drive's just kind of going 90 to nothing and you could just be browsing the web or maybe not even doing anything in your system. It's when I noticed it back in 2016. And that's what led me to create the whole utility back then just for myself and many of my business customers. So what I did was I looked at that and I'm like, holy crap, it is really churning away using so many resources. And when we look at it, right here is actually in our window components, data collection, and preview builds. Let's look. It's using a lot of your resources, which a lot of people fall for the marketing of Microsoft. And just to kind of showcase this, I actually did a meme about this not too long ago. It was pretty funny. But Microsoft, what they do is they perpetrate this lie that they are helping, Windows Update is committed to helping reduce carbon emissions. You can't even read that sentence without putting a smile on your face and chuckling and going, right. Okay. Somebody's been hitting the devil's lettuce there. But I say all that because it really does use a lot of resources in the background. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But let's look at the data collection here. Data collection and preview builds. And showcase that telemetry because that's what was asked in chat. And there's 4 different methods that you can actually specify. And typically don't go crazy with group policy. And if you do, if you're in a business, make sure you create a separate policy for every setting that you do. I've gone back over some technicians and I always have to chastise them when they dump everything into like one policy. That's terrible. And overset things. It's typically kind of like a new tech mistake. But anyways, I digress. So some people think you can just hit yes to this and then just say, hey, turn off all data, right? That would take care of it. But actually that's not the truth. There's still a lot of processing happening in the background. Now there's another setting in here and that's not the viewer, but where is that setting? I'm gonna make a liar of me, or they changed it or moved it around. I'm looking. Was it commercial ID? I don't think it was. No, because where are you at? Nope. Configure connected user and telemetry. No, that's just proxy telemetry. Here we go. So by default, configure collection of browsing data for desktop analytics. So this is mostly Microsoft Edge, why it gets started on kind of going and it's kind of where it's grabbing all the information. This is Microsoft telling you they're collecting information on you. I mean, most users don't understand that Microsoft is collecting all that data, but if you just read this plain as day, it says, hey, by default, it's usually set to sending both intranet and internet history. Now, intranet means your local area network. That's just your local network. So let's say you go to browse, I have a NAS box. So let's say I wanted to browse my network, like I pull up my main pool, or right here is actually on my NAS box. All this data right now is getting collected and scooped up and then submitted to Microsoft. Depending on my browse habits, different things, there's a lot happening in the background here. And then you also have the internet history that is actually getting farmed out as well. Now, a lot of people are like, is it nefarious, like Big Brother kind of things? Not really. Most of it from Microsoft, I think, is done from purely, one, so they can make a better product. Some of the telemetry is used for that, probably. The other thing is probably selling your data. And this is what every big tech firm does, is they'll just collect all this and then they can bundle it and sell it in bulk to people. And then, hey, this person really likes cats. You can then get targeted for like cat stuff. Tale as old as time. That's nothing new. But this is where it kind of happens. So Honestly, the Toolbox should pretty much just disable this by default, but you could disable it yourself just by going into a local group policy editor and doing it through here in computer configuration or user configuration. Once you do set the policies, you could either reboot or just come into here and just go like GP update dash force. And what that does is it goes through, updates those policies, enforces them, and then makes it to where those settings should get applied. And this is typically only on professional versions. Another little gotcha here, something where Microsoft has broken some of the fundamentals of Windows, is it depends on your version of Windows. So if you type WinVer, my version of Windows is 24H2. I'm on it, just I hate to be on the bleeding edge of any Windows version. If obviously this is my work computer or something like that, I would not be on 24H2. I'd be a revision or two behind. You never want to be on the latest version. And if you are using Home Edition instead of Pro, a lot of times they're starting to basically ignore group policy. So even if you do set the group policy in Home Edition, a lot of times it's not. So I'm looking at other solutions for this, and this is where another project on GitHub comes up into play and something I'm kind of thinking about, and that's Policy Plus. So this is a big one where if you are a Home Edition user, I would highly recommend using Policy Plus, because then you can specify things in group policy and have it enforced on a home computer, where if you're not on Pro, you would normally now, with a lot of the latest Windows versions, there's no workaround, where the workaround now is using a third-party product like this. But this is all open source, and I've used it in the past. So if you're in a pinch and you're on Windows Home, I probably would use something like this instead. Yeah, I'm on Insider Preview. It's awful. But I'm just on it so I can beta test and go, okay, what shenanigans am I going to have to deal with? What are the errors I'm going to be running into like a month or two from now? No one should be on an insider build of Windows. The biggest lie you've ever been told is make sure your computer is up to date. Let me put an asterisk next to that. Make sure you install your security updates. That's true. Making sure you're on the latest feature update or on an insider build of Windows is a recipe for problems and just having a terrible experience. So if you want to be Microsoft's guinea pig, have at it, but know what you're signing up for. You're signing up for bugs. You're signing up for many, many problems when you do feature updates and insider builds. They are awful. They will always be awful. And that's just how it works. And for the past 10 years, really, what they did, Microsoft used to internally quality control this stuff. And then I think somewhere around 2012, 2013, they laid all those people off. I think, who was it? He's on Twitch too. Barnacules. He used to be an insider tester. He was part of that QC team, and he got laid off because of how Microsoft works. So all that quality control internally got removed, and then they basically added the insider builds. And that's just a heads up. That's a thing. All right. So now that we know these things, let's start actually doing something about it. We know that Edge script just does not work at all. Do I prefer Zen kernel over that in Arch? Man, LTS kernel's where it's at. You need to be rolling LTS. If you want a stable Arch system, Linux LTS with NVIDIA LTS, chef's kiss. Never have problems. All right, let's see. Let's pull up this script, see what we got. Should we do some LLM work? Pull up old cursor. Yeah, you can delete the files, Mola, but the big thing is they kind of change a lot of the different, let's just go back to WinUtil. They change a lot of things on that. And NVIDIA never had problems. Well, LTS NVIDIA drivers is where you really want to be. Long-term service, super important. Why you want stability when you're on Arch? Hey, Arch has been great for me this year. We're going for a record. What are we at? 101 days. We're approaching 4 months on Arch without a reload. All right. It's happening. Let's go edge removal. So we need to actually remove the edge files. Let's first get Sonnet out. Let's do a check and see what they think of this script. Because I feel like looking at it, there should be just a basic for loop here. This isn't well done. It should actually check to see if the process is running first before trying to do a stop process. That seems a little crazy. But let's first go check this script for errors and give suggestions. Old Windows. Have you dabbled in Zed? I have, but I need to revisit it. When I was looking at Zed, they hadn't released yet for Linux. I know Zed's like heavy into Mac, but now they have a version of that. Wow, what happened here? I'm sorry, but you didn't give me anything. I think Sonnet's like, I'm broken. This guy made fun of me on the last stream. I'm not gonna perform for him. Yeah, z.dev. It's cool. I like my VS Code pets, okay? I'm easy to make fun of here. All right, let's try that again. Check for errors. Well, I guess I broke all the LLMs. Script version is never used. I think we can get rid of that. Configure edge policy. Uses an unapproved verb. Wow, Sonnet is just big goose egg. All right, let's check old Jippity. Chris breaking stuff, who knew? Yeah. Let's see. All right, I think we're gonna DOS most of this. Taylor tried to update this, but I'm sorry, Taylor, but we're gonna wipe you out. We're gonna fix a lot of this. All right, what are we gonna do? Change first. Let's go check for a process running before killing. Yeah. Okay, Sonnet is broken right now. Just giving me nothing. That's funny. All right. We should add some llama in here so we get a little, some flavor. Let's get rid of that. That's fine. We don't need the else statement though. So we'll flip through, check to get policy running. If so, do a stop. Next up for the removal of paths, same thing. Do a check if path exists before remove item. Okay. Remove else. Yeah, ever since using cursor, I can't stop. It's definitely addictive just because if you can ask real specific questions like, hey, I have a nested if statement, switch it to a switch statement. It's just so much easier and less tedious than doing it yourself. I totally get that. However, I've gone on this rant a ton. It will not write functions completely from scratch. You need to understand the logic behind it before you ask it to do stuff. So the people on like Twitter going, hey, it writes an entire program for me and I barely even have to do anything. They're lying to you. That's just not at all how that works. Yeah, I have a Yo's edge removal script. It's a CMD. I kind of want to rewrite it in PowerShell specifically and then just do it myself. The CMD script's not well maintained, so I kind of wanted to do it this method. All right, so we fixed those error messages we get, and then we have the Edge AppX packages, which is fine. I feel like this just was not... Yeah, I feel like this is all wrong. Because if we look at Git, like AppX provision packages, let's just see what's on this system. So this is what's on here. We're gonna run out of space. Okay, so we got Clipchamp, Bing, gaming app. I feel like this person might have fed it in here and just done like an LLM paste without actually knowing what's happening in the background. The downside to GitHub PRs or accepting them is a lot of times you do get some garbage. Ah, man, I really wanted this to work, but yeah, we're gonna have to kill this whole remove AppX packages. I don't think there's even packages for Microsoft Edge. Let's double check that. Let's spin up Windows 10. Oh, geez, let's go. Net. What was it? Oh, not NetSH. What was it? Versh net list. Oh, God bless. I can't remember. What What was the net? Was it net start? Now, net list. Net list. So we have that, but we don't have... I think I can just... I don't think I can share that, but I think I could just I changed my VM configuration, so... Nah, it's fine. Let's look at network vert IO, but I think we can just use a bridge device, BR0 like this, and then let's just start it up. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Oops. Here we go. How many versions of Windows can we run on one system, you think? We got Windows 10 over here. We got Windows 11 over here. Everybody gets Windows. Okay. So here is Edge on a Windows 10 instance. What I want to look here is double check what this looks like. So what we're going to do, get appx, and we need provisioned packages. I think, yeah, that's fine. Nope. Got path. Let's just go online. All right. So here's this. Let's see if there is, in fact, an Edge package. Did I already debloat this? Because I do not see any Edge. Oh, no. There is a Microsoft Edge stable. So there is an appx Edge stable. So part of this is fine, but Edge is also in the program files. So we're going to have to track it down, remove the appx, remove the registry entries, and then track down the files itself. Feel like that's fine. Good to know. All right, cool. I don't need you right now. We might come back to old Win 10. That's always a scary thought. Shutting down service, Windows security service. Uh-oh. Yeah, I bet we could probably run 4 or 5 instances in Windows on this machine. My CPU is barely even sweating. 5% running 2 Windows instance, but this is, we look. This is a Xeon. We got 32 cores. A Xeon power. 2 GPUs. We can do some stuff. All right. So for this, again, check if appx package exists before removing. Perfect. Remove else. There we go. So that gives us, hell, that's awful. That is awful. No. Oh, see, this is why, you can't get, LLMs will hallucinate, as they always do. Okay. Use get appx provision package to check if it is installed before removing. Well, okay, I see what they're going with. That was actually correct. Yeah, no. Yeah. So if we look at what it was doing, let's just keep going back here. I was rolling there for a bit, but yeah. For each package, if package there. Yeah, so that's redundant. Okay. Yeah, for some odd reason I thought, but we are already grabbing the provision packages using the get appx packages online, and then it calls the packages to remove by doing aware object equals package, which where is that variable getting declared? For each package, and appx packages to remove. Appx, okay, that must be down here somewhere, right? All right. Remove edge appx packages. Where is this getting called? Sometimes I'm like, it would be faster to write it myself than do code review sometimes. What is this doing? Is declared on the for each itself. So it calls the remove appx packages with the trigger app packages to remove. This whole thing is jank, I think. What is going on here with this PR? It's almost like someone just highlighted the entire PS1 file and said, hey, Jippity, write it. There's just too many hallucinations and wrong going on in this PR, I think. Yeah, yeah, damn. All right. Well, that was cool, but this whole thing just needs to be removed. We're done. We're deleting it. This was destroyed. And what is it? GPT trash. I mean, I'll just rewrite it from scratch. I'm not gonna sit there and go, hey, where'd the LLM make a mistake? It's easier just to delete it. At that point. Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I start seeing a bunch of like LLM artifacts on a script or a PR, I'll look through it and then I'm like, I should have reviewed it a little bit more than before accepting that pull request. As there's just a lot of artifacting going on. What is happening with my bar down here? All right. Yeah, I think well, honestly, chat is honestly the highest level of intelligence when it comes to code review. That's why I live stream this stuff. So then people can be like, hey, no. You didn't declare it here. That's where it needs to actually look. So I love chat. I can't tell you how many times chat has saved me from myself. All right. Good to hear. Junior sysadmin, man. I remember those were some good days. I loved coming up in the sysadmin world. The workstation setup, yeah, working good. I've been enjoying it. It's been probably the longest I've actually gone set up without actually configuring stuff, which is nice. And it's been really good flipping back and forth between all the environments from Linux to Windows and then coding. I could just jump in and out of different operating systems. Very, very seamless. And I've really enjoyed. I don't think I'll be switching anytime soon. So having said all that, let's see, what do we want to go from here? I guess let's go to some more PRs. Let's get some ideas. Do you game? Of course. Just got over a little bit of Path of Exile, checking out the new season there. I actually started jumping into Warframe last night a little bit. That was a lot of fun. And then kind of an old school MMO player too. So old Final Fantasy 11, EverQuest kind of thing. But I don't do that much these days just because I don't have time. But man, I did love them. All right, pull requests. What do we got? Let's start from the bottom and work our way up. Draft, debloat, edge tweak. What do we got? Drift users, pretty solid usually. All right. I think for the debloat of edge, we're going to be doing a bunch of registry. Yeah. Looking through these registry tweaks, pretty easy. We have the original values and the new values. I like it. That's pretty solid. Approved. I've actually done those tweaks a lot. I don't even need to review that past what I saw. All right. Squash and merge. On to the next. You'd be surprised how many people do like it, Razzo. There's a lot of people that just swear by Edge. I get a lot of email where people are like, hey, it says managed by my organization. What are you doing with your script on Edge? And I'm like, yeah, I've tried to strike a balance on Microsoft Edge tweaks and keep it out of like a lot of the essential tweaks I do on the Toolbox. But there's just so much telemetry back and forth where when I disable a lot of telemetry in Windows, it restricts some of the settings in Edge because Edge is one of Microsoft's most bloated spyware tools out there. There's not much else on the market that does more spying than Edge. I'd even say it beats out Chrome just because of how aggressive it is on startup. And most people can't remove Edge unless you're in like Europe. I think Europe did successfully sue Microsoft for a couple $2 billion or something to get them to remove Edge. So you could change your world over to Europe and then just say, hey, I'm now United Kingdom. Although I don't know. Since the UK is not in the EU anymore, I don't know how that works, if they're still grabbing that version of Edge or not. I'd be curious. We could actually change our region and look at that. Oh, okay, you're in the UK, Luke. So you still have the same problems. You can't uninstall Edge? Yikes. It's as bad. I don't think anything's worse than Valorant's Vanguard. I'm sorry, Valorant, that's just straight up malware. That's a rootkit if I've ever seen that. Don't get me started with Valorant. Riot Games, you need to do better. I just cannot sign off on that. Why do we have all these drafts here? All right. Fix some bullet points and contrib files. Okay, this looks like just a README change. Probably good. Okay. That's cool. This is just a docs update. So very easy. A very easy PR. Moving on. Okay, uninstall Edge doesn't work over in UK either. All right, so then it would probably just be like France, Germany, those types of things I think are the only ones that are in compliant. Microsoft said F you to everybody else. The refactor draft might take the whole stream. Maybe. Well, let's keep flowing with the docs and other PRs. We'll clean up some of this while we see some other stuff. I will say this has gotten so much better. All right, let's look at the actual code. Whoa, 91 files. What are we doing? Okay, GitHub pages. Oh God, someone added a code of conduct. Please. Okay. That's just too much, man. I want my code of conduct to just like, hey, just be nice to each other. That's all I want. I don't need to like go crazy with a code of conduct. I've gone so much over a stream where I'm like, it's just too much. But I do like all these other features. We can always go back and change it. I don't really care. All right. Contribute code. Let's keep going there. Yeah. This is all docs, it looks like. So all these are markdown files. Holy crap. It's a lot. Although the feature JSON, this is kind of interesting. Link. Okay. Put a link here. Oh, so he's adding a link to the invoke scripts. Good Lord. That is one massive PR. So right at the end of these, a new one has been added to link to here in the docs. Oh, let me think about this for a second. Oh, let's go screw up some stuff, but let's keep going. I'll take a mental note of all that. Oh God, how much are we changing in the tweaks, JSON? Dude, that is an insane amount of work, but it all looks like links. All right, hopefully my eyes don't start bleeding from reading this PR. Most of it looks good though. Just, all right, we gotta check it out. God bless. Just looks good, huh? It's too much. So much. It's just a ridiculous amount of stuff in a PR. Good night. It's so much the browser's like, I'm done. The browser's like, I can't handle the load. Oh, Lordy. All right. Let's pull this down. God bless. That is a lot. Titus, it was a bad idea to open this PR. Yeah. You can say that again. You can definitely say that again. Hey. Yeah, that is just a massive PR. All right, it's literally crashing my tab. Let's just come on over to here. We'll close that. We're gonna open up cursor over here. Let's take a peek at the PR over here. We're gonna bring it in house instead of going through there. Okay, so drift user. This was just complete insanity. Let's look at the description again. I think all those are auto-generated. No, they're not. It's just so much. The big things I care about are... So that's a generator PS1 file that's getting run. So this is actually changing the JSON files, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Yeah. PR means pull request. Yeah. I mean, it's just a very large pull request. Huge. All right. I can't even check it out because it has to run through GitHub workflow. I'm trying to think of the best way to test this. I regret pulling this up on stream. I feel like we could just, you know what? I got it. I got this. That never happened. Anyways, the next pull request, fix shortcut creation. All right, moving on. There's my drift. You can check it logically. That's going to take a little bit too much. I don't think I can do it on stream. I don't think I can. I'm gonna need a lot of concentration to go through that whole PR. That was a big one. All right, fix. Now this is a bug and something I have seen. This should be actually a lot easier to work through. Let's look at the actual changes here. Invoke web shortcut. Just a couple ins there. We're changing target path to shell and shell args from source exe and arguments to source exe. Skill issue. You're not wrong, King Root. So really, it's just two variables we're looking at. Now, where are those? Where are they declared? And why were they so far off? I do not see them. Okay, here we go. So it was shell args right here in shell. So why was this? Oh, it was probably me. See, I probably did it on stream, and then I was like, oh, yeah, it looks good. Submit. Yeah, thanks for that. This is a solid PR. All right, great. Another win. All right, cool. Come back. Looks good. Looks good. Approve. Merge. Squash and merge. Okay, so now we got that. Moving to the next one. Dialog box theme. I think there was a dark mode issue with like the about and sponsors box in the PR. So let's take a peek. 2490. What happened over here? Oh, did it flag WinUtil again? No, I don't want to. I don't want to submit just random samples to Microsoft, guys. That's no. Your device may be vulnerable if we don't send you submissions. That's not how virus detection works, Microsoft. Just because I don't send stuff to you does not mean my device is vulnerable. That's making me more vulnerable by turning it on. Liar. Microsoft sits on a throne of lies. just Microsoft things. All right, but what did it flag? Was it? No, that was just when I was doing some testing with the executable that I wrote in Rust. That's not it. That's not it at all. I don't know what that was. Oh well. Back to our PR. Oh nice. So we'll have a dark and light theme. Before it was just dark theme all the time. Sounds like something I would do. Solid. Let's look at the code. Oh, I like it. Even pulling it in from the run space. Very nice drift. Logo color. I wonder why that's logo color and background color. It's interesting. And then we got the config theme, which is pulling it from, yeah, the current theme and then your foreground and link color. I wonder why this is set to logo color instead of sync dot foreground color. Just thinking out loud. Oh, is it defined at the top? SVG path fill logo color. Oh, I got you. So it fills the, oh, that's right. Yep. Thanks, there, Drift. Yeah, that looks good, man. Yeah, so the SVG on dark mode, it's all white, and then he changes the fill color to there on the... Ah, that's a nice touch, man. That is a nice touch. Amazing. Approved. Squash and merge. All right, let's continue on. I like these. These are a little bit more wet our palate, so to speak, before jumping into something too crazy. Oh, Pickley, you got something? Nectos Act, huh? What do we have? Oh, dang, look at us. 1,800 people. All right, sweet. What is this? Run your GitHub actions locally. Okay, now that's cool. That's way better than having to do submissions of workflows and then testing them out. So neat. All right, cool. Thanks for the link there, Pickley. Now I can actually test a lot of those actions. I haven't actually used Nectos Act before. Didn't even know that existed, but that beats the heck out of making like 30 different commits when I'm testing a new workflow. Oh man, Alex, I remember old XP and NT Lite. That was actually back when NT Lite was free. NT Lite started off as a freeware tool, and then they slowly, I think in Vista it was like half paid, half free, and now it's just fully paid. But I remember that. Jeez, I remember you could get down into the single digits in process count too in XP. Because I rocked Windows XP 64-bit Pro Edition for quite a while, actually. All the way into like the Vista era, and I think finally switching over in Windows 7. Yeah, very cool. All right, cool. I like it. Yeah, I'll come back to that. I start it, so we should be good. Let's come back into our testing. That's all good. Update applications JSON to be alphabetical order based on name and category. That probably needed to happen. What do we got? This is going to be impossible to look at. What? Okay, here we go. So we got Arc, Brave, Chromium, Edge. So it's getting labeled automatically, alphabetically by category. And then I don't know if I like that, just because, like, trying to find like just development, you'd have to go to the development category and then sort development by A to B. I'd much rather just go and order everything alphabetically. So to me, I don't like that just on a JSON side of things. I get why you did it. Just personal preference for me is I'd just rather all applications and application JSON just be alphabetical. And I think we can just do that globally. I'll do that cleanup. Because what happens whenever you get a PR, which I know OG is good. It's probably a good PR. But what happens when you have cleanups happen through pull requests, people can sneak things in on you during a cleanup. So let's say, now I'm not saying OG did this, or this is actually Calum that did this. I don't think Calum would do that, but why take the risk? So whenever you have a cleanup, that has to happen from the project maintainer, never a contributor. So one pull request I'd always caution anyone from ever submitting to any project really is a cleanup. Like, hey, I changed it from tabs to spaces, or from, going in and going, all right, I made everything alphabetical. Those types of things should never be a pull request, because damage can be done sometimes unknowingly by the contributor, sometimes malicious, sometimes just there was a space there for a reason. And whenever you have these big cleanups like this, that always should be done by the actual project maintainer. So obviously this is probably a good PR, but not one I could ever accept. I just wanted to give some rationale behind a PR and why I would never accept something like that. So remove compile files, ignore files, and compile check on a PR. Oh, nice. So yeah, well, good to have you over here, man. Yeah, I've been really liking streaming. Almost completely been engorging myself with programming and streaming and just doing those things as I try to level up and getting back into coding a lot. Now, obviously, these code reviews aren't really coding. That's more of just like, hey, do I see errors with something else someone else wrote? But you can learn quite a few things looking at other people's code. But one big thing I really wanted to do was kind of just improve my skills and get back into programming a lot. So I haven't actually been making many YouTube videos lately, just because I want to learn some new coding languages. And the last time I seriously coded was probably like the late 90s, more than 20 something years ago. And it was like C++ using like Borland. Back in my day, we didn't have these fancy language servers like you guys have now. We wrote our code and then we linted it afterwards and then prayed that it gave us some kind of sensical error where we could find it on a line. So yeah. You get actually pretty good at spotting things, so that's kind of cool. What do we got? Remove compile files. Compile check. Okay. Yeah, setting the execution policy to bypass. Actually not needed. Well, you might actually do that. That actually is not bad. Yeah. So that's actually not a bad workflow addition. So compile and check. It'll run on a push, a PR, and it can be manually triggered. Allow other actions to call this workflow. Okay. So it's getting rid of my compile. Pre-release. All right. Create and import code signing certificate. All right. Kind of a change here on how it's doing it in the verification. I don't know. I don't know if I like it. I get why Martin did this. Ooh, now this I do like. I think this would be kind of cool. So on any of the branches on a push, it just removes WinUtil. That's kind of cool. I think we had problems during the compile portion of this whenever we did that. All right. So compile.ps1, validating, checking. So he's removing it from the actual code here, and it only gets uploaded during a release. Yeah, I like it. I do like that. because now that we're doing releases, we don't need to have the git history of the compiled WinUtil. Oh, it's a big change. I'm thinking of all the different ramifications of actually removing it from the raw, like user-generated content and the actual repo itself and tracking it. Of course, I'm currently running Arch with Hyperland. I'm looking to systemd alternatives. What do you think is the best systemd alternative? OpenRC, Plat. 100%. I love OpenRC. It's still a staple in the business community as well, because there's many times systemd is not used in business, specifically when you're doing small containers of Linux. So I would personally use like Alpine Linux uses OpenRC and the APK package management. So I really like that. It's very minimal. You can see start times of an entire system in 2-3 seconds with an Alpine system. Obviously, that's after BIOS, because it depends on the computer. Some computers have like really nasty artificial BIOS loads, or God, Intel-based systems and freaking management engine take forever to finish their startup. But once it actually goes to load the actual system files, it's usually 1 to 2 seconds on an Alpine system. So OpenRC for sure, if you're looking for a systemd alternative. And there's a lot of like almost a compatibility layer with OpenRC where they'll convert systemd commands to OpenRC commands. Obviously, systemd has many more things like timers, bootloader, many other aspects of systemd that is a little more in depth than OpenRC, but OpenRC mostly just does what it's supposed to do, initializes the system without a whole bunch of bloat. What happened to the plan to switch to Hyperland you made a year ago? I mean, I don't know if that was necessarily a plan. I might have been drinking when that plan was made. I don't know. I'm having second thoughts. I'm just like, I don't want to. My system works so well right now, I don't want to rock the boat. and that was a lie. I lied to you. I'm sorry. I don't ever want to leave Xorg. I'm just going to die here as an old man on my old Xorg platform. I love it. On using old DWM that's been around for 20 years. Life is good here. Drama-free. Not a care in the world. Xorg for life. I know. Things just work and they run and I don't have to worry about anything. God, I wish I could tell you something different. Man, this is such a big change. Such a big change, but I love Martin's work. And I should test this locally. Really should. The wheels are still turning over here. And I am procrastinating. But why is this come on. What are you doing? All right. It's like, that doesn't look right. Okay. So I spent all weekend doing this. Only hipsters use Wayland. You said it, not me. But you're right. That's for them youngins out there that really just want that new hotness. Ain't nobody got time for that. Can you fix the enabling of numlock on startup? Because at the moment it keeps showing disabling numlock no matter which way the toggle is. Oh, okay. We can take a look at it, Kang. I think he did a good job with this one. I really do. Let's look at that upload artifact on this submission, though. You have to upload the artifact after it's there. Create and upload the release, but I want to say that's not going to work. Let's look at the actual file on that pre-release. So we got that, creating that, authenticate. So he's missing a step. You have to, so it compiles the PS1 file right here, and then it fundamentally changes the file when you code sign it. After the code sign happens, in between it, you could do it, yeah, I think it's after the verification, this is when you have to upload an artifact. So this is a really good PR, but I want to say we need to change it just a hair, because that's not going to work, because you have to upload the artifact from the changed code sign. Holding mod key X, then it crashes DWM. Oh, really? Yeah, I still need to do a better job of making like a universal DWM for people to use. I'm sorry, I've been sleeping on that. Oh, what happened here? You must be on the branch to make or propose changes to the file. Okay. Oh, I'm looking at the raw file. My bad. All right, let's go edit file. And what I want to do here is it does need to create the artifact. And you should see that right here. Then you can actually do the commit action, I believe. So before you create and upload that release, all right, silly YAML. Ugh, God bless, I hate YAML. Chris, noob question. When using an LTS kernel, should I use LTS headers or just LTS kernel with NVIDIA LTS? You don't have to use the headers. Headers is if you're using like DKMS or any kind of DKMS modules. So you don't actually need the headers. I usually have them there for whatever reason. Or sometimes I'm compiling stuff. I actually, do I even have headers installed on my system? This is a good question. Let's look. No, I am using LTS headers. Well, what's an extra couple megs? Just toss some LTS headers in there. That's what I got. Although, are those installed? Brain's not working well today. Oh yeah, Pickley. Yeah, we're on the front page of Twitch. That's why. Yeah, so I think we'll just grab this artifact, submit this update, and I think that'll be pretty good. I don't know if the update's actually needed. Let's just kill that real fast. What happened there? So here's the artifact. I'm just going to do a simple commit just to update these changes. Updating WinUtil PS1 after code signing happens before creating the release. And we'll just directly commit to that. I think we're going to accept this PR. I really like it. I think the workflow and logic behind it's much better than what I had worked on. It is a massive change, and I'm very hesitant as it could break things. But as Matt Damon once said before he sold out to a crypto commercial, future favors the bold. So let's go ahead and approve this and get rolling. Oh, all right. Darn it. That did not work at all. I need to fix this. It's not going to allow me to squash and merge because we're getting rid of WinUtil.ps1. So the best way, I think we might be able to do that in the code editor. Let's take a peek. So we have it over here, and if we check it out, let's come on into our PR over here. Go here with it, and then let's look through. Yeah, I know this will work, but I'm not going to be able to actually squash and merge it because the main WinUtil file that was submitted is not there. How can I get around that? I could do it like a checkout, or I could, oh geez, I really don't want to do like a hard commit or a rebase. I don't know yet. We'll see. Unit test. So what I'm doing with unit testing is it's actually a GitHub thing. Like most Linux people hate GitHub because it's owned by Microsoft, and has a lot of really cool features that you can use. So I actually use GitHub because of its CI/CD workflows, because it automates a lot of my job. So anytime I do an update, a lot of the checks or these workflows run after a PR comes through. And it'll tell me, hey, there's a syntax error in this guy's code. Don't accept this PR. It'll give it a big old red X. And that's what I love about a lot of this stuff. And that's unit testing, at least in my, smooth brain up here, where I'm like, okay, let's let's work through this and see how it goes. So I think it's really important as I learn more about coding and development, having these unit tests help me not make as many mistakes. You're still going to make mistakes, and a lot of the unit tests will fail. Sometimes they're just not written right, which is a skill issue. But a lot of times it does, it's a nice little just extra safety net. And I love GitHub for specifically the unit tests. Will Win 10 perform better on games on an older PC? Win 10 will perform better on all games, period. You don't have to add anything to that sentence. Windows 10 still is the best operating system compared to Windows 11. Between the two, Windows 10 will always outperform. Windows 11 will still always be a little more bloated, or bloated, I should say. It usually has about 7, I wanted to say 7 to 11, but I think I just have the convenience store stuck in my brain. But yeah, Windows 10 will be always faster for you. Oh my God, GitHub roasts pages.dev. All right, we got to take a break. I see that in chat, and Tommy, we gotta do a detour. GitHub roast.pages.dev. Oh, okay, roast this GitHub. What will it say about me? Chris Titus Tech, more like Chris Titus all talk. Your bio screams tech content creator, but your GitHub profile tells a different story. With a whopping 9,037 followers, I expected to see some groundbreaking tech projects, but all I found was a collection of half-baked scripts and configurations. I mean, it's not wrong. Your company, CT Tech Group LLC, must specialize in overhyping average projects because of what seems to be your forte. With 54 public repos, it's a surprising that quality doesn't equate to quality. Quantity does not equate to quality in your case. I do have a lot of crap repos in there. I don't want to continue, but we're going to. Let's talk about your latest projects: Hyperlintitis, Win10 script, and Linutil. Well, that's actually archived. Are these supposed to impress us? I mean, Linutil has some promise. I stand by Linux Toolbox. That's gonna be impressive one day. Maybe not today, but one day it will. Hyperlintitis is, I'm not proud of that one. And Win10 script was actually the origin of the Windows utility that you see today. Are these supposed to impress us? Because all I see is a mix of borrowed ideas and unoriginal content, and your ultimate Windows 10 script more like the ultimate disappointment. NeoVim, my bash, PowerShell profile. The only thing consistent about your project is the lack of innovation. And don't get me started with your top 5 bootloader theme script. Are we really supposed to be amazed by your ability to automate the mundane? You know, I think honestly, I'm going to push back on this one a bit, because automatically installing and theming out the bootloader is super cool. Like, I don't know, maybe I did this for a YouTube video, but saying I installed Arch Linux in 120 seconds, including a bootloader theme, I don't know. It makes me feel good. I like to flex my tech muscles with that one statement. So you should be amazed by that stat. And I actually liked my bash. Now, my NeoVim is very much specific to me, and not many people probably should use my NeoVim, but I like it. Your PowerShell prowess maybe garnered you some stars, but let's face it, it's all smoke and mirrors. Your GitHub stars may look flashy, but underneath the surface lies a hollow shell of recycled code. It's time to step up your game, Chris, because right now your tech content is looking more like tech nonsense. Hi, could you support me on ProductCon tomorrow? Your support will really mean. I did 100K roast. Next target is 500K. It's up to you. That's hilarious. Sure. There you go. I'll post it. Getting roasted by AI. I liked it. That was good. Thomas, thanks for the Prime. I have a system very similar to your setup. Windows VM works fine as long as I remote to using a remote software. loading in using Looking Glass. I have no mouse anymore. Any ideas? So yeah, Fireball. I'll help you out with that. So for my Windows, which actually it's down right now. Did I shut it down? I think I did. Let's go to Vert Manager real fast. So if you look at this, let's open it up. Open up here. You'll notice one thing with my keyboard and mouse. See how it's repetitive over here? And if you look at, I have 2 keyboard and mouse. So you have these that get installed by default. You can't remove those. But you'll also notice I have a mouse and keyboard, which are VirtIO. So once you install your QEMU drivers, which you definitely should if you're doing a Windows-based instance, because your VM's going to run like trash if you don't have VirtIO in there. So you have your VirtIO installed. You come back in here, you add a mouse, keyboard, VirtIO drivers, and Bob is your mother's brother. Bam. Done. All right. Anyways, back to Windows. So basically that roast boiled down to you calling you a script kiddie. I mean, yeah, I'd say so. And honestly, they're not entirely wrong. I'm pretty much a script kiddie with just like some basic programming knowledge. Like I understand object-oriented programming and top-down and those types of things. And I did some C++, but I would not call myself much more of, I wouldn't call myself a programmer. Bob is your mother's brother. So Bob is your mother's brother. It's a weird callback to drain cleaning Australia. It's this Aussie I like to watch before I fall asleep on YouTube. He sits there and plunges out sewage lines, and he has all these wacky phrases, and I love him to death. He has the best attitude out of anybody I've ever met online, and I love that channel to death. So shout out to Drain Cleaning Australia. If you haven't checked him out on YouTube, you should go check out that guy. It'll change your life. It'll put a smile on your face at the very least. Let's see. Will you respond to my post? It depends on the post. Thomas, thanks for the gifted sub. Even I want to check my PRs. Don't cry. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going with the PRs. We took a little break. Let's go back. I gotta figure out with this on how to accept this PR, killing the main WinUtil script. I do like that one from Martin. I do approve of it, and I think it is probably a big step up. I think that artifact thing was needed, but we'll see. I'll wait back till he wakes up and has a chance to look at that a little more. So update phone link application ID in config JSON. What's up with this? Change ID from Microsoft Windows Phone to Microsoft Your Phone. Remove invalid ID comms phone in the debloat function. This fixes the issue where the phone link is not getting uninstalled correctly when debloating the system using... okay. That's actually in there, I want to say. Yeah, so, yeah, Caleb's going back and forth with Cryo. It is there. I've seen the Your Phone function. We can do a get apex package to actually verify it. Let's do that real fast. You'll see, I don't think I've removed it from this system. So let's do a get apex package. We'll just go dash online. This should, I think just doing all users, I would imagine, would be what we want to do. So let's just do all users, and then Microsoft.yourphone right here is the package name. So yeah, that's correct. That's a good PR. I think they did change it once upon a time. In Windows 10, though, it might be different. That's the thing. Some of these PRs are specific of the Windows version. Now, Windows 10 will be end of life next year. So if you are a Windows 10 user, you should probably think about moving soon. Because once it goes EOL, you get no more security updates, and that is no bueno staying on a Windows system without security updates. As much as I like to crap on Microsoft updates, you do need security updates for sure. Oh hell, thanks for the tier 1. Linux is looking more and more attractive. At the very beginning of the stream when we started out, we talked about how Microsoft is forcing online user accounts because they've removed the shortcut key Shift F10 from the latest build of Windows 11. So you used to do Shift F10 and then you could skip doing like a bypass NRO, so you could do a local account on systems, and they've actually removed that shortcut key because too many people are making local accounts apparently. So the idea behind this stream was to fix micro-win as well. We still got a lot of time though, so we're going to keep going. It's going to be a long, buckle up, it's going to be a long stream today. So we'll get through our PRs. We only got like about 6 more PRs, so we'll move on to micro-win and start building out a fixing Windows style one. Let's pull this one up. This is what we're talking about for phone link. Let's look at the code itself. Just removing comms phone and Windows phone, changing with your phone. Yeah, that's the only change. Yeah, such a good PR. Very, very nice. I love a clean, simple PR. All right, fantastic. Good job, Cryo. A solid one. All right, let's merge this pull request with a squash and merge. You want to check the numlock? All right, let's do the numlock. Let's check it. Let's do that. Code review can get kind of boring sometimes. So, all right. So we in our tweak section, we should have numlock on startup. So we toggle that on. What's that look like? Numlock on startup over here. Okay, that looks good. Let's double check to see where that went. If I remember correctly, numlock on startup, if you go to HKey users, you should see under keyboard, initial keyboard indicator set to 2. So that should be correct. So what we'll do now, let's just delete that. We'll come back into the tool. Watch me blow up my Windows system. Wouldn't be the first time, nor the last. All right, go to the tweaks, enable that. So then if we come back into here, we give it a refresh. Yeah, it's back to 2. So that's good. Now, some people like, let's go into control panel. Sometimes you could run into the same thing in here. If you go to keyboard over here, initial indicators is set to 0. So maybe we do HKCU as well on top of HKU, which is just HKey users and then HK current user. Let's do both, modify out the code to fix that. So that's an easy fix. We'll just come into here, configure that in our tweaks. Oh no, YouTube's chat's not showing up on the main screen. Let's see what happened. Okay. Uh-oh. What happened there? All right. Okay. Yeah, apparently my chat, YouTube chat's gonna be out on itself for a second. 1 second. I always have a backup on that. 1 minute. All right. Let's look at our tweaks.json. In here, we're gonna go to keyboard indicators, indication. Nope. Where'd it go? Let's go regedit. Keyboard indicators. Initial keyboard indicators should be there. I know it's in the tweaks JSON, so initial keyboard. Oh, it's its own private function because of the toggle. My bad. Okay. Let's go functions, private. Let's go WinUtil numlock. Where you at? Numlock. Okay, here we go. It's like, what? That's wrong. All right. So here is this one. Instead of setting the item property here under HKCU, let's also set item property. Let's go copy. And what we're going to do now, let's change this from the path. Oh God, I don't want to. Let's make a new variable. HKU path. And then let's go HKCU path. And that is going to be different. So we look at our registry, HKCU control panel keyboard. So this is actually incorrect. So we got HKCU, HKU, HKCU. Save that out. And that should fix our numlock on startup. Sometimes, so to explain how this works real fast, HKU is applied for numlock before you log in. So one thing that Windows does that most people don't realize is numlock can be applied at a user level or a global user level or a machine level. And there's a lot of different ways to set things. I once made a article. Same thing goes for like thumbnails. So I did an article specifically kind of stating it. I'm only going to show it because it does show you all the different spots you can change settings in Windows. It's a little maddening because one spot can totally hamstring you. So it's really important to know these things about Windows when you're doing it. Let's pull that up. It's silly. It's completely silly. I think it was thumbnails in Windows. So if we look at this, where is it stored? Kind of goes into that, but you have thumbnails and folder options right here just by right clicking and looking at the folder itself. You also have thumbnails actually getting generated and shown in system options. That's actually under sys, what is it? Yeah, sysdm.cpl. And then you also have it in group policy. So there's 3 different spots, but guess what? We're not done. There's also registry in a 4th spot. So you can actually set thumbnails generation or disabling thumbnails in 4 different spots. And if one of those is set to disable thumbnails, thumbnails will be disabled. So you might be thinking, what happens, Titus, if like 2's disabled and 1's enabled over here and all these things are configured different? You got a bit of a mess on your hands, and you got to check all 4 spots to verify why those thumbnails aren't happening. And I just made this article mainly for my sanity because a lot of times I forget exactly the location of each spot. And that's, you know, selfishly I did it for myself, and I was like, well, hopefully someone gets some benefit out of this. And that's why I published that, just to kind of showcase all the different like madness of Windows and where things are stored. Kind of wild. All right. So that's done. I think what we're going to do with that, we're going to pull origin. Don't make me stash. Okay, good. Now we're going to just fix numlock on startup. Actually, let's make the whole commit that. We're going to commit that to main, push. Okay, so if you pull down main right now, it should be good for you. You should have that numlock fixed. I forget who asked about that, but should be there. YouTube chat has never come back, has it? Come on, YouTube. YouTube chat, I swear. There it goes. There we go. All right. I got it up on the screen. Yay. It's not on the screen, but that's okay. It'll come back eventually. Yeah, I think we're at 2,000 something viewers. Not bad. All right. Watch out, Primogen. I love Prime. All right. Numlock's fixed. I think that was from somebody in chat. They mentioned they were having issues with that on startup. Reboot your computer. You should see it. Now to show that in action, because we can do a git pull. This should grab a new script because it compiles using that unit test. So you can see it right here. So if we go winutil ps1, this is the new version, which we should say 8.6. Perfect. Go over to tweaks. So if we go numlock on startup, now if we pull up our registry again, we should have our numlock fixed. So sorry for the flashbang. We have initial keyboard indicators at 2 right here in control panel. And then if we go over to HKU, which is HKey users, before the login happens, and we go to default, control panel, keyboard, you will also notice it here. So let's now disable numlock on startup. Well, you might be thinking, Titus, who doesn't use numlock on their computer? This is a good question, and I actually have an answer for you. Keyboard users on a laptop. Laptops without a numlock, where's that numlock on that keyboard? If you have numlock enabled by default, let's say you run this toolbox on a laptop with no numlock, that whole right side of the keyboard gets turned into a numpad. And it is completely maddening. I've had a couple people email me about it, and I was like, oh, I won't make that default. We'll make it a toggle. And that's the reason why you do that. So now that we've disabled it, let's double check that setting. See, it's 2, refresh, it's 0. Go over here, it's 0. So perfection. That's what we want to see. Awesome. So numlock should be fixed now. I don't actually have a numlock here to test it since this is a VM, but someone can test it. Let me know. What tech doesn't use dark mode on their computer? Well, I actually have dark mode enabled, as you can see here. From a system level, it's dark mode. But many prompts that I use as a sysadmin don't have a dark mode option. Mainly so us sysadmins can wake up at 3 a.m. and fix things in the middle of the night, get flashbanged, and then be like, all right, I'm good. I'm awake. So to flashbang you guys one more time, we'll just grab some control. No dark mode here. Oh yeah, we're in Windows 11, but we like our Windows 7 control panel. Look at this beautiful. This was peak Windows. Peak Windows. Right here. All right, I'm done trolling chat. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, all right. You know, there's still some Windows prompts that are way better. sys.cpl. I'm sorry, but you cannot be a Windows user and not know about sys.cpl because you cannot sit there and tell me that the new version of how sound's handled in Windows 10 or 11 is even 20% as good as this right here. This is fantastic. I can change everything. I have so much control. It just makes sense. I can disable devices, I can enable them, and I can see what's actually speaking, what's not speaking. And then you have the madness, the absolute craziness of the sound, which the sound settings, you pull up a settings menu, you hit search. What are we, Apple? Are we Macintosh now? I don't see nearly as many devices. I'd have almost... Don't get me started. This is just arguably a terrible interface in comparison to sys.cpl. I just will die on this hill. Yeah. I mean, well, if you're a Linux user, of course you have sound problems. That goes with the territory. I have like a whole bunch of tips for Linux users as well. Oh my gosh, someone did that, Phoenix. They made a dark mode for regedit and task manager. Okay, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm not right about very much, mind you, about some of my takes, but this is one thing I will say I am right about. All right, let's start doing, we could develop an open source control panel for Windows. I don't know if that's a good idea though. I like the idea. I just don't know if it's a good idea. All right, so we fixed numlock. What else we got going on? Let's, I guess, go back to our PRs, right? Where are we on this? All right, control, changing uninstall edge tweak by Lingit. Okay. Let's see, what is he saying? It's a refactor. We touched on this earlier about uninstalling Edge. Edge runs by default on every Windows system. Let's see. Using its built-in uninstaller by tricking the system into thinking it's in the EU, where it allows users to uninstall Edge. When you run the remove Microsoft Edge tweak, it will pop up its own uninstaller and then gone. And this keeps WebView 2, very important. Forza doesn't work without WebView 2, in a cleaner way than a full removal that might cause problems when reinstalling in the future. Ooh, I really like where this guy's head's at. All right, Lingit, let's see. Yeah. Is he grabbing from the AO Neo? Let's see where he's good. Avi Neo. All right, let's look at the tweaks JSON. He's grabbing it from his spot. Okay, so he's linking a script, essentially. That's fine. Let's look at his script. Oh, geotanned. Let's see. No. Let's not get geotanned. That would not be any good. All right, Lin get 0. Oh no, it's a new GitHub user. He doesn't have very many commits. He only has one project. All right, let's see what he's doing with this edge removal script. Why did he link to his instead of just submitting? He probably just maybe doesn't know how GitHub works. It's not terrible. Let's continue. All right, let's look at the logic of the script. We got MS Edge process, widgets specified, So let's just do this real fast. And actually, I want to kind of pull this PR directly on here, and we'll pull it up over here, and then edge removal. So the first part, he's grabbing MS Edge, which should retain like 8 different processes by default in most Windows systems. Yes. So here's all the process IDs it's pulling down from the Git process. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Damn, I'm good. All right. And then widgets. I think I've actually disabled widgets, so we probably shouldn't see any processes here. Let's double check that. And I did disable widgets. Okay. So then we check to see if Edge is running. If process there, stop process, write output, good. So then it stops Edge and the widgets. Then we're creating a variable for the necessary path. Integrated service region policy set.json. I have never seen this file in my life. I have to look at it. What is that file doing? Integrated services region policy set. Oh, okay. Geographic isn't okay. So we have an issue here. I wonder if we can, my thought process here is, I wonder if we can trick it by creating this file. Let's keep going on the script, but that's a really good, interesting file that I've never seen because I'm US, and that's obviously overseas. I like it. Okay. Get ACL, access rule, new object, system security access. Okay. Just changing the ACL around. This is a very minimal script, actually. Only 58 lines. Length of lines, replace, set content. File does not contain 8 lines. And then define. That is super interesting. So all he's doing is adding one registry entry to basically trick that. But what region is he setting, I wonder? I keep coming back to Windows. I don't know why. Coogan, I'm going to tell you right now. You ever heard of something called Stockholm Syndrome? Because I feel you. And I want to say, this is us. It's victims, a former definition of Stockholm, positive feelings towards their captors, of sympathy for their causes and goals, and negative feelings towards police and authorities. We have Stockholm Syndrome because we've used Windows for so long. We've been captive that we just look back on it after we're finally free and we're like, well, you know, is Windows really that bad? I don't know. Is it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Adrian, thanks for joining the text over on YouTube. I mean, that's the only conclusion I can come up with because I absolutely adore Linux and I love it. But there's many times where something happens and I'm just like, yeah, I'll just use Windows. It's fine. It's okay. So, yeah. I think like fully migrating to Linux is capable. Most people I think are capable of fully migrating. And there was a time during my YouTube career where I was like a full-blown Linux content creator. That's all every video I did was Linux. And I did love it, and I consumed myself. I did everything in Linux. I edited videos in Linux. I recorded in Linux. I did everything. And my life was much harder. I don't want to lie to you and tell you Linux is great for everything. Windows does things better than Linux in some areas. And when it comes to like generation of content and hardware compatibility with all the different vendors, they've had such a monopoly for so long, Elgato just creates Windows stuff. Playing games in Windows, well, every game in existence has been created with Windows in mind and not Linux. And that's why it works better in Windows. And it's getting a lot better in Linux. It's not to diminish anything that Linux has accomplished, but it's still not as good of an experience as what Windows provides for those things. And when it comes to like, video editing now, I've actually gotten Resolve working pretty good in Linux, but you don't even have feature parity with like DaVinci Resolve. Yes, I have DaVinci Resolve, but mostly I use it in Windows, not Linux, because Linux doesn't have AAC compatibility. We also have a difference in not feature parity with a lot of things in Linux compared to Windows. So I love Linux, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you about it. Sometimes Windows is just a better solution for what you're doing. It just depends on you and what you need. Real talk. I don't think I'd ever make a video saying that, because good night, I couldn't even imagine the comments. Ugh. Surprised you guys aren't throwing tomatoes in chat right now, but you know. Why edit videos or play games? Yeah, if all you need is a browser, Linux is perfect for sure. But I mean, it depends on what you're doing. Like many games I like playing in Linux comparative to Windows as well. So that's not to say it's always a better experience in Windows, specifically Fallout 3. And there's some games that do play better. Many retro content and emulation works just a lot better in Linux. So it just depends on what your goals are. Spicy Pop and Phoenix are like, damn it, Titus. You've done it again. Yeah. I mean, Kdenlive compared to Resolves, there's quite a big difference there. Now, not to say Kdenlive's not good. For a beginner, when I was starting out, I did 500 videos edited in Kdenlive. So I like Kdenlive, and it's really good when you're just starting out editing videos. But I did about 400 videos that I probably shouldn't have done in Kdenlive, where it would have been much easier just grabbing a real editor that has color correction and many other quality of life improvements for what I do. And I just was like, I'm FOSS only and I'm just doing Linux for everything. And I really drank the Kool-Aid hard like 3 years ago. And I will say you can do that. But things will be more difficult for you. All right. Sorry. I don't know how I got sidetracked here. We're removing Edge. Let's try this tool. I am very curious. Okay. He hasn't really... I don't think this changes anything, though. So let's just download the raw file. I don't see anything wrong with the script itself, so I think it'll be easily safe to run. So let's run it, see what we get. Let's go edge removal. Yeah, so the script's not bad. I like the idea of it. We just need to change a few things. Why would you remove Edge? Prioritize your time. I think we can all acknowledge I'm terrible at prioritizing my time. I usually just go down a bunch of rabbit holes on these streams and go, you know what? I feel like stripping this out of Windows or fixing this issue. It's like the first thing that pops in front of me. Squirrel. And I just go for it. So how do we... Let's modify the script. I think we can make this work. I'm feeling good. Am I running VMs and have a window manager to switch between them? Yeah, Nick, that's exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so EU Windows 10, that file does exist with uninstall info. Interesting. Since we deleted the earlier version, what we're going to do is we're just going to grab this edge removal. We're going to copy it into here for now. We'll probably make it a private function and call it directly in WinUtil, but that's not for a little bit. We're going to just play with it in here. We're just going to go here and we're just going to play around until we get something that works. So we have this basic script. Now Edge version, where's that getting set? Right here. Since there is no apex get edge stable package, I've already had like a partial removal of Edge. Let's reinstall Edge, I think. Oh Lord. Look away, everybody. Look away. Actually, you know what? I think I can just do winget for this. Honestly, I could just do a winget install, but overloaded it. 1 second. You see nothing. Look away. It'll be fine. It'll be over soon. Not doing anything here. Oh, okay, well, can't even install Edge through here. Sad face. Okay. That's gonna just return everything. All right, fine. Microsoft Edge. Found an existing package already installed. Trying to upgrade the installed package. Okay, that's not gonna work. What if I'm just spitballing here? Like, is it an uninstall or remove? I can't remember. I think it's remove, actually. Yeah. Remove. That might be a more elegant solution. Okay. Okay. Instead of particularly going through and grabbing the version, Edge version, I think we do a winget removal after region unlocking it. So here's the plan. Here's the plan. We install Edge with winget, or we have winget already detect Edge. One of the two happens. So then all the pointers are already set up, kind of like setting up pins in a bowling alley. And then we region unlock it or region move the lock over to like the EU where you can uninstall Edge reliably. Then we do winget uninstall and then blow it out. And then it just knocks everything out, clears out all the stuff as it should. And then we move the region back. That's pretty clean, I think. I think that's a way better way than trying to look up the version and then CDing and going into the directory and then running the setup with a -- uninstall directly. I think if we can get that working in that method, that would have some really good staying power. Yeah, it's true. Getting rid of it cleanly without messing things up is a difficult task. But I do feel like that would be good. Will that work without a restart? Another good question, Drift. A very, very good question. It's going to be magic or tragic, I would say. It could. I don't think it would reinstall it in the way you think, though. I think on a feature update, it'll get reinstalled, but I don't think it'll get reinstalled immediately. Oh, yeah, Twitch chat's kind of fallen off. What happened? Now it's all YouTube. YouTube took over. Man. I could always switch our chat service out, too. All right, so let's see about doing that kind of change. 1 second here. Oh, there is a major outage right now. Oh, no. Figures. That's okay. We've got backups. Multi-stream backup. Multi-streaming sucks sometimes, but that's okay. All right, here we go. This is a Titus special chat. 1 second. Kaplow. We got an IRC outage. That's all right. We brought it back. So there we go. Twitch and YouTube can chat once again. This is all local. So what I do is I actually stream all this into a local deal. I try to use this one cloud service. Every time I use a cloud service that tries to cull chats together, it always ends in disaster. Or maybe it's just because of how many people in chat we get. Either way. Yeah. We're good. We get both. All right. So changing the region is the biggest part here. Let's see what we can do here. So the access rule and changing the region. What do you think Jippity would tell us? I don't know. It wouldn't do. We'll try Jippity and also see how it goes. Oh, and yeah, we're still trying to uninstall Edge. So the big thing is, how do we move our region from the States over into the EU and then pull it back? Or maybe we can trick Windows into thinking we've done that, uninstall Edge, and then just remove the trickery. We could try Claude or Jippity or Llama. I don't know. Let's see. And get. Let's try to get this whole file. Give the full context to move to EU. All right. So changing the region with the integrated services region file to EU. You can modify the script to update the relevant line of JSON. Here's an updated script. So what is it doing? So on line 8, yeah, the chat isn't transparent. That's one thing I haven't been able to fix yet. This is just like a Titus special. It's my backup whenever the main one fails. I don't think EU specific enough. I totally don't. AH, I think you're absolutely right. So I think the region has to move so that is working properly. What does that look like? All right, so let's accept that for now. Region setting. So what I want to do now is pull that line in. What options are there for region using this file? Oh, somebody got a paste bin. Thank you, Vez. Let's take a peek at that. This is what it is. EU is not an option, by the way. Could do like ES. Isn't that Spain? So, oh, how interesting. I don't think English International's in here. We got EE and ES, which I think ES is Spain and EE is, or maybe, is that Estonia? I don't know. My knowledge of geographical is not the best. Eastern Europe, thank you. Yeah, maybe. Oh, okay. I think we're both right. Eastern Europe, Estonia. Well, Estonia's quite a bit smaller than all of Eastern Europe, but I would imagine each country would have its own region, though. Let's see. Maybe choose IE for Ireland in case language settings gets messed up or something. Yeah, I think that's a good one. And IE is on here, right here for Ireland. I think that's probably the best. Do I do any journaling? Yeah. Usually. What do I have? Shout out to Ryan Holiday, the Daily Stoic Journal. I kind of like it. Otherwise, I end up writing the same thing in my daily journal. So I kind of like the prompts it has and be like, hey, makes me think a little more when I'm journaling. Good question, though. So I think what we can do here, since this paste bin is just a JSON file, do I need to import this JSON file to there and then set the region? I feel like there's a way to enable this policy without doing it through this method, but I could be wrong here. Just modify it and set the ACTs. Ego is the enemy from, yeah, that's great. My favorite from Ryan Holiday is the obstacle is the way. I love that. The impediment to action is action. Or, nah, I screwed that up. I don't remember what it was. So since this file is only in the EU version, it's disabled by default. Otherwise, it's enabled for all regions mentioned. I think we just set the region and then, but we're going to have to do a reboot probably to do it. So that's the main issue here. You can't just change your region without a reboot. And that's going to be funky for an uninstall. So I don't know how well this is going to work out. Could you just add the US region to there? I don't think so. Oh, it does work without a reboot? Okay. I think we'll just download this. Oh, geez. Oops. Let's quit. Geez, what am I doing? Where am I going? Let's quit here. Sorry. Let's move integrated services JSON to GitHub, WinUtil, and then we'll just rename this a little bit. All right, let's pull those down. You can see we've changed that. Let's just submit that. Come on back over here. Let's pull these changes down and grab it down. So that should have our JSON file in. And if we look in here, we now have the integrated JSON file. Now, what do we want to change out of here? This is the big thing. I'm like, ooh, maybe. One second. Take a quick break. I need about 5 minutes. Let's see if we can do tear down. Do I still have tear down in here? I think I do. Let's see. All right. Let's go 5 minutes. All right, quick 5-minute break. We'll be back. I'll run some ads while we're waiting. Oh, maybe not. All right, I forget how to do that. Oh well. All right, I'll be back. Yeah, I'll be right back. One more drink. All right. I know. I'm late. I wasn't late, but then I was late. Sorry. Had to grab a little food stop. All right. What do we find out about our region lock? All right. I was just watching Looking Glass Insanity. All right. So we're grabbing the integrated services region policy set lock, or region policy set, and then we've got it in here. All right, let's check McCoomer's takes. He runs Windows. Okay. What do we find? All right. I love my Windows 11 PC. It's the best technology I've ever used. How can you fix what is already perfect? Well, No denying that logic. As a wise man once said, never argue with an idiot. They're just going to drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. I know he's just trolling. All right, so let's see what I'm gonna look online and see what we can find on this integrated policy. There's got to be a way to set this, so I'm kind of curious. What? Oh, oops! I keep trying to use my timeline window manager inside of Windows, not working again. Are those tuna bags good? I mean, they're all right. They're fast, and you can just rip one open. You got decent macros on them, so I don't know if I'd say they're probably good for you, and I eat way too much of them, so my mercury levels are probably off the charts, but I mean, relatively healthy. I should do a lot more meal prep, but time. I never have enough time. All right, so Microsoft is actively rolling out an update to Windows 11 to comply with the Digital Markets Act in the European Economic Area. A crucial part of this implementation involves regional settings. The system responsible for integrating policy resides in system settings, the data model.dll. Okay. In a first attempt to retrieve the device's geolocation identifier, it's done at the registry level, which I knew about, but registry, as soon as you start messing with it, a lot of times you got to reboot to see any effects. It then resolves from the location identifier. It's fine. The state of the integrated services region policy depends on the evaluation of the policy's default state, enable, disable, and conditional rules. The system stores these policies in a disk in the system directory, system32, which if we look at that folder, I don't think we saw anything in here. So let's go to Windows, system32. And then if we come down to, come on, integrated services policy, is it even there? It is. So when we look at it, so this is there. So we don't actually need this file. Okay. So that file is already actually there in system32. And when we look, we're looking at our edge removal script. Yeah, that's where it's at right here too. Great. You can reconfigure a PC to appear as if it's an EEA region in the context of integrated services region policy. This is done by adjusting the value mentioned earlier in registry. Here's an example of registry entries changing the cached geographical location identifier to 94 Germany. Oh. You can also replace the component responsible for integrating service region policy with your own. Here's a skeletal project on GitHub. Interesting. He's using Rust. What a Chad. All right. Using Rust to configure policies in Windows. All right. I can get behind that. Now let's go to scripts and install. So he's using set ACL, going into here. How interesting. That's cool. So that skeletal project, I don't think is even needed. I think we can just change the registry and then be good. Yeah. What's the easiest way to do it, Jack? There's a lot of different ways to skin this cat. And I'm going through kind of the different Rolodex of different ways of changing mine in my head. And registry is kind of what I know. I'm trying to think if there's a little more elegant of a way of doing it. Now, obviously, if you're just doing it and you don't want to do it via script form, you could just pull up, I think it's like region.cpl, and then just change your region. Which I think honestly, I don't think you need to do that. I think you just type region, pull up the control panel, and then just change it here. And if you're in America, obviously, you probably would want to go Ireland or something. And that would probably get you going. For reference, Ireland is 44 in hex. Okay. Okay, so go HKU, default control panel, international geo nation, set it to the region code. Really, HKCU is where you go. Let's try it. We were just there earlier in the day. Flashbang. All right, let's go to HKCU. We're in defaults, and we're just gonna go into international. Oh no, control panel, international, and then geo. Now by defaults, what does this look like? So we're 68 by default. This is a string. Someone said Ireland is 44 in hex, but what's the binary equivalent of that? Nation to 84 France. Okay, we could do 84. I kind of wanted Ireland just because of language. The hex is the code. I think, but this is a string value. So Ireland, SZ value region, Windows registry. Really? You're going to just give me key identifiers. Okay. All right, fine. It says 68 for that. And it's set at 68 right now. Did I already do this somewhere? When did I do this? Did I do it via the script? I feel like the script did it for me then. Yeah, IE is there in the name. Oh, did I just change it in the panel? I don't remember doing this. God bless, I'm losing my mind. No, it's American. It's America. But, no. I don't see that. System locale? Nothing. Huh. The script had to have done it. So let's look at the script. Because I don't remember doing that. So this... Yeah, see, this is what was added. But there is no changing of that. So I don't remember. Maybe... Yeah, I don't remember us setting that. What the hell? HKU applies to all users on the machine. So HKU would be fine. HKCU is the current user. So it just depends. Something's fishy. Yeah, it's definitely not doing that. It's just patching the policy JSON. Yeah, I don't know how I did this. So this is just changing the region policy evaluator. That's actually like a DLL component, it looks like. So this is if Microsoft starts locking stuff down. I don't think this is necessary. I was just looking at this. I don't think that's anything. And then this one was HKLM, which is local machine, setting the device region to here. Let's take a peek at our device region, going through HKLM, Microsoft Windows current version, control panel, device region. So that's should be pretty easy. Let's take a peek. So let's come into Microsoft Windows, and we're gonna come over to current version, control panel, and then device region set to 244. Okay. So device region here is set to 244. I feel like setting that would be okay. All right, I'm gonna look at that, Jack. Let's see what we got. Yeah, 244 is ENUS for the device region. So if we set that to 66, that would be, or was it 66 or 68 for Ireland? I guess we could try it with just the HKCU. Okay. X value is 44. Yeah. Okay, so someone, Jack sent me the uninstall process that he has. So look at this script from Jack. We're going to pull up CMWLSA7Y. So function uninstall, origin nation, going to HKU, changing the nation screen. He's setting it to 84. We can change that to 68. I probably would go ahead and change the name to IE for Ireland as well. We're just setting the variables here. One variable is going to be that access control for file system, access control list, system directory, and then we got our integrated services region. Why? Oh, why is it set like that? Okay. So first off, it's checking for whether or not the registry is there, removing item property. So it's removing experimental control labels from registry, probably not really needed. Uninstall string, it's grabbing the path to the registry for the uninstall string and arguments. It's actually a pretty short script. So then we got the arguments here, commands commented out. So then it's starting the setup.exe, uninstall, wait with new window, and then restoring the ACL afterwards, and then restoring the nation afterwards. I guess it really doesn't matter whether that's French or not. It's going right back to where it was. I like that. That's pretty good. Okay, let's go raw. And then edge removal. I think we can essentially kill this. Actually, I like to kill the widgets and MS Edge. I don't think his script took into account that, so I think we're gonna do a little bit of a blend here. Let's see, does that script take into account? I don't see it doing any stop process, so I do want to remove those Edge processes before it tries to uninstall. All right, I like it. 68 was IE. Sure, we can switch it to 68. I could just see something messing up and then all of a sudden France. But it's only temporary, so it really doesn't matter either way. This does it automatically? I don't see it doing a stop process. I guess the uninstall process does it anyways, so it doesn't really matter. I guess I just feel better about stopping the processes beforehand. I mean, the uninstall technically would kill processes in the process. I just really, before doing an uninstall, I like stopping the processes. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old school in that regard. All right, let's try it out. I like how he left Edge update and web view in. Just commented them out. Everything else looks pretty good. Some of these properties, I feel like we should probably do some checking if the item property exists first. Like the get item property equal to 1. That's typically a good thing to do. Some of these have them, some of them don't. So maybe a little cleanup on the script, but otherwise I think it should work pretty good. Let's give it a whirl. So we already have Edge here. Chris Titus. So christitus.com, right? We click on this. It says installed here, but let's give it a whirl. Okay, so Edge did get uninstalled somehow. I think that script originally kind of got rid of most of it. But anyways, let's Z over to old WinUtil. Let's run our Edge removal. Oh, no, not that one. Let's remove that one. That's the old script from AO Neo kind of thing. So now let's that's that line 16. Oh, looks like I killed something here. 1 second. I don't know how I did that. So now Microsoft Edge should not be there anymore. Should have a pretty easy time of it. But this one, the parameter should equal true Edge browser. So it wants to be fed Edge browser. What was the Edge browser? Oh, this is actually, yeah, let's just call it manually. I'm actually going to leave these guys in right here. We'll just call Edge browser here with uninstall Edge. Am I missing something? Function uninstall process. Uninstall Edge. That's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah. VS Code thing. It's just bugging out on me. All right, cool. So now we go Edge. Removal. So strange. Okay. So it's not there. Let's install Edge now. Yeah, they're like, you're killing me, Titus. I know. Yeah, I just had a corrupted one, Jack. So I think I was doing... We were doing manual strip out earlier. Now with this script, I feel like it's much better. So let's re-download and install it, and we should have a really functional way to remove Edge that's clean and sanctioned by Microsoft. What's happening with the updates tab with WinUtil? Now, updates right now, I have them specified under policies in registry. So in business, typically we would take feature updates, delay them by about 2 years, usually. Put it on like a stable channel, and then put a 365 hold on any feature updates. And then we do about a 4-day delay on any security updates. Microsoft releases all security updates usually on Patch Tuesday, hence the name Patch Tuesday. So today actually should be a round of probably some security updates that come out. You never really want to update the day of, because they have been known to push some bad updates from time to time. It's Microsoft after all. And then once that's done, I think one other setting I do in there is locking the branch to stable instead of, I think it's not stable. It's I think it's what, long-term servicing branch, almost like an LSB or something, but not. Hell, I have to look it up. while Edge reinstalls here. Let's just do that. So I usually go into components and Windows Update. Oh, they just changed this again. Damn it. I think legacy policies should still have most of that. So usually I do an auto download, notify for install every day at 3 a.m. So it should never install any other time. Options for notifications, I just disable and exclude. And active hours always set to 18 hours for that. What else do we have? No WUSUS. And then how managers are doing. So optional updates, enabled, preview build. Ugh. Usually I disable that and just say, hey, no preview builds and pause any feature updates. Quality updates, otherwise aka security updates, are 4 days. Do not include drivers in Windows updates. That's always a bad idea. And then specify a target version was the other one. I usually specify like a version, I think in business most, on client site right now, I think this is like 22H2. Maybe I have it 23H2 on some, but I think 22H2 is the last version I upgraded to. We push those out and then manage preview builds, release quality. There's all these different version channels. Really, you shouldn't set any of this. You should never run a preview build. Preview builds are awful. I just do it so I can get all the bugs before you guys. I don't know why our download speed's so slow. I got about a gig up and down, so something else is going. Okay, installs preview build anyways, yeah. Don't be like me. All right, so now we have it. Now if we run Edge, which, let's just do the Edge removal script now. So it did get rid of the JSON file there. That file did exist. We actually looked at it, but somehow when we went back, it didn't. And that looked like it was way too fast. I bet you Edge is still. Oh no. Okay. And then if we pull up Chris Titus, let's see if it redirects. What's a redirect look like? Huh. I kind of want to reboot our system. I feel like something's just a bit off here. Let's just reboot, see what it looks like on startup. I think we're going to discard those changes real fast just to pull that in. I'm not going to commit those yet. Let's restart. Why does Windows use backslash for pass? It's horrible. Agreed. I can tell you why. It's real simple. So Microsoft thinks backwards, so it uses backslashes. The rest of the world thinks forward, so it uses forward slashes. There you go. That's the explanation. That's all I got for you. So that's about the best I can come up with. But it is maddening because backslash is like, you know, an escape character in pretty much every other operating system, languages, everything. Okay. So we're back up. I don't think we have Edge on here. I don't see Edge in the search. Let's double check all apps. What's this look like? Got the store. Yeah, no. It did actually remove it, even without that JSON there. So I'm going to try it one more time. And this time I'm going to like launch Edge just to make sure everything like reinstalled properly. I hate to do this over and over, but you know, I don't want to roll out a bad update either. Okay, found an existing package uninstalled. Not working. Okay, fine. Let's just download the executable. Yeah, we'll just do it manual. We can't wait for you to try it out. Downloading Microsoft Edge. Nice. I hate using PowerShell, not gonna lie. Meanwhile, my colleague uses PowerShell on Linux. Yeah. I mean, PowerShell is a weird language. It just is. It's very funky. Okay. And not very intuitive, and I really hate how long it takes to code stuff in PowerShell. But it is very powerful. If you're a Windows user, I think if you really want to modify your Windows install, you got to learn PowerShell. So that does work now. And let's try like christitus.com. Yeah, now we have the browser. It does launch in. Perfect. So that does work good. And then just double checking our Edge removal. So we're just going to remove. That's pretty clean. And that was really fast. It's so fast. I think I keep thinking it didn't remove the file, but it did. That is ridiculously good. Thank you, Jack, for all the help earlier. My goodness. I think that's the best Edge unremoval that you could possibly hope for. Very easy to reinstall, unobtrusive, and then probably the only other thing we should do here is probably like an Edge redirect. And instead of reinventing the wheel here, if you look, redirect Edge is a pretty popular GitHub project. Is it not on WinGit? Of course not, probably. Well, maybe. No, it's there. Redirect Edge. MS Edge redirect. Oops. Yeah. It's there. So I think what we do is a winget install MS Edge redirect. We can call that from the script as well. And that would fix everything. Of course. Okay. So we have the Edge redirect in. Now, we launch that. Let's see. What other do we need to launch for that? MS Edge. Is there a configuration that needs to happen? Yeah, MSER. So you have all these things you set. You got the redirect, disable Copilot, redirect store apps. I don't think that'll work. And it's still gonna redirect, isn't it? Yeah, no. I think we have to set the default browser and some other shenanigans too. We have to do it as a service, don't we? Why does this suck so bad? And did it add a service to like services.msc by chance? Huh. You have to have Edge installed for it to work. Man. Let's run it as admin, so it should have full privileges to do what it wants. But yeah. Hide service mode and tray, start with Windows. All this is grayed out, even though it's run as admin. So, very interesting. So it has to have Edge installed for the redirect to work properly. It's a little wild, so we'd have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, to get the redirect. Maybe do the browser. We could. So let's look at the default apps. Maybe we just got to set our browser properly. Because you got to remember, they think, so let's say we set this as the default. I think it's just setting this would be good. Hey, Melky, how you guys doing? Jeez, all right. So let's pull up christitus.com again. No, still wants to open an Edge. Oh, FML. Okay. I like Edge as my primary PDF viewer. Oh, no. Oh, no. What's Windows? I don't know. It's what the peasants use these days. Us, future users, we use Arch. Now that Melky's here, I'm like, I'm not in Windows. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You see nothing. Going pretty good though. Making my mind explode today. We were doing a little bit of Windows utility work and kind of trying to clean up and fix Windows. We did get a really cool script going for removing of Edge that's clean because of EU law that Microsoft has to have an uninstall. So we did actually get rid of this batch file, and a user in chat actually linked to this script. That's actually pretty good. I think we changed it just a hair, but basically you run it and it changes it to Ireland for a brief period of time for the region, does the uninstall, which Microsoft has to allow, and then it sets your region back to the States or your current region. So it worked pretty good. So this was great. This was an Edge removal fix. We'll just commit this out. I don't know how we'll integrate this in the future, but at least we have the script and we worked on it a lot today. Yeah, a common EUW for real. Ocular. Yeah, for Linux, I like Ocular. And we've also been working on Linux utility too. Like probably next, probably this Thursday we'll work on the Linux utility, which I've been working on this. This is a Rust project for the Melky crew that just raided. Let's just do a start sh. This is something I've been working on to where we want to set up certain things like global theming. It'll go ahead and down like Kvantum, QD, set all your global themes, and then that way you have global dark theme. If you want to do like gaming, this will go down the load, grab all of the settings like Lutris, Steam, enable 32-bit libraries, all dependencies, just like with a push of a button. Build dependencies if you want to build projects. Security, just like UFW, basic things. And then for like theming out my bash prompt. So when you pull up this, it would set up this whole thing for your terminal of choice, whether it's Alacrity, Kitty, you know, those types of things. So it would set up the base bash RC with my settings, and we're expanding that out too for the Linux users in the crowd. I have really done it. How did you learn Rust? I wouldn't call what I'm done learning Rust. I mean, it would make for a great clickbait video. How I learned Rust in 48 hours. I thought about making that video, but I was like, nah, the internet, YouTube's already full of enough trash. So I just kind of hacked around on it. LLMs helped a little bit for some of the learning process, but I also got a Rust book and started going through it. I'm only like chapter 6 right now, but I've been tagging it, underlining, so I can come back to them as I run into different programming things. Also watching some videos, some explainers, but a lot of it is just, you know, pound around, make sample projects, and then go. Like if you're learning a language, it's just like in real life. If you want to learn another foreign language like Spanish or something like that in your English, you can read as many books as you want, you can take as many courses as you want, but at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is if you actually speak the language. And I think programming is the same way. If you don't use the new stuff you're learning, then you're not going to learn it. There's no course that can help you. There's no book you can read. You got to actually have like some kind of project or something you could do. And that's like the big thing. So, yeah. And I've done this in a couple different ways too. So there's linutil, but on Windows Utility, I actually created a binary project just to do like an executable for folks too. So I did that too. Rux, he's monologuing right now. I do monologue sometimes. What do we got? Oh, we got a PR 2383 on Winutil. Was that Winutil or Linutil? Get the book Rust by Example. Oh, okay. I'll have to pull that up. Oh, is Winutil? All right, let's take a peek. What do we got for that one? We got a big PR today. This one was merged. Still got 11 outstanding PRs. Although that's just like a dependent bot. So 2 of them are nothing. We got 4 drafts. 2383. Oh, OG finished this. This is the one I was unsure I was going to accept. Well, maybe not. I can't remember. What was I? Oh no, this is the big one where we were standardizing things. Yeah, OG needs to push one more time for this. He pulled down the ones we just did. We just did a big edge removal commit, like, I don't know, 5 minutes ago. So let's go with that. Did I see the GitHub functionality on Arc browser? Arc browser is not in Linux, so I don't really use it. If it's, I have to have it, it has to be in Windows and Linux for me to use it. So a guy at my work swears by Arc. He's a Mac/Windows user. I always making fun of him, but he swears by it. Oh, thanks, Colin. Edge is fine for performance, but I mean, some people love Edge, and I no hate. I mean, honestly, if you like Edge, there are some quality of life Chromium fixes that Microsoft did a decent job implementing. Having said that, there's no way in hell I would ever use Edge. I just can't. I would rather just use Google Chrome if that were the case, or just Chromium. It doesn't matter either way. Oh, the edge removal script. I think, honestly, what we'll do for the invoke, it doesn't really need to be its own script. I think we can just invoke it and create either a private function through here. So if we actually look at our project, the thing that makes the most sense to me would be either a private function right here and just say invoke winutil script or invoke winutil uninstall edge probably, and then just call that function from inside the tweaks, which you could see. Let's pull that JSON file real fast. We already do this for a few other things. So having it as a standalone file, we were just doing that for testing, so we could just run it over and over and over again without having to go through all the steps. Now that we've ironed it out and gone, okay, this works, this is good, then we can actually implement it in. It's not meant to be a standalone, and calling another script from a script is jank. We're not gonna, that's even too janky for me. So the whole point of the PS1 script was getting away from CMD so we don't call another script. Now we can do a lot with that. That was the whole point. So pretty good. Let's see about that, though. Now that we've done it, hell, let's just finish it. Let's take it to the final mile and get it across the finish line, now that I'm talking about that. So we could do it through an undo script in tweaks.json right here. I don't necessarily like this. I almost want to just call it direct, like a function from here, but I don't know if I've actually done that when we do an invoke or a set. I don't know if I've actually called that from the tweaks.json when it gets implemented in the final code on the compile. Let me think about that for a second. Honestly, probably the easiest way would probably just to take, because it's not a big script, only 100 lines. Not a big script. Spoken with the guy with a 15,000 line script. So what's another 100? Oh, okay. Did OG submit it? We'll see. Well, I won't. I'll just do a commit. I won't push. I won't push yet. This won't screw with him, I don't think. Let's go uninstall Edge. What was it? Edge removal. There we go. Here's remove Edge. So right now we're doing the standalone call, just doing that batch file from Avio. That script was fine, but I really didn't like the batch file. So instead, I think we could probably do something like this. Now, we can't just take this on its head, because we have to escape some of these quotes. It's going to take a little bit. Oh, geez. Actually, now that I'm doing this. Oh, going back through and reformatting all this. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it now that I'm thinking about it, because we're doing it through JSON. Yeah, so for those that don't know about the project, how we do it, it's really modular. This is actually, originally this was set up as just a giant PS1 file, and I was just editing it like a madman, like just an absolute insane person. Instead, what I've done, developer Derp came along. He was a contributor about a year or two ago. He helped me implement run spaces, because run spaces is something I wanted to do, because if you run a regular PowerShell script without run spaces, it just uses a single thread with one processor or one core. Not good. Or really, one core with one thread is what most PowerShell scripts use. Mine doesn't do that. You'll notice it can really hog some system resources when it gets jamming, but it's fast. And that's run spaces is what does that. It's able to do a lot with it. Also, Derp split out the whole thing into private functions and then made all the tweaks. Or actually, no, it wasn't Derp that did the tweaks. This is actually somebody else that said, hey, we should make all these JSON files so anyone can see what tweaks are being done. And Joe Blow, that has no coding experience, could just look at the JSON file and then change the tweaks to that person's need. So that's cool. So that was actually a whole other contributor now that I'm thinking about it. But having it all modular like this, it compiles up into one PS1 file at the very end and then it's distributed out. So changing the JSON file is nice in this regard. Now, in these invoke scripts, why I'm sitting here kind of shaking my head, because when you have these quotes, you see how the formatting is a little off? Well, a lot of times you have to like escape those out, and then it will fix that. Because if I don't escape those out, it'll actually not run the script properly, because it can't digest the JSON file properly when the compilation happens. So yeah, it's just like a whole different bag of worms. You still recommend Nabarro distro for gaming? I don't know. I think Nabarro's good. I think Glorious Eggroll does a great job for Linux distros for gaming. I really like Bazite. Bazite's still my favorite for if you have to ask what gaming distro to use for Linux. I think Bazite's my number one, just because it's an atomic distribution, a fancy word for immutable, but not quite immutable. You can change some really important settings. So I really like Bazite. I think that's my number one pick, but Nabarro would be a really close number two, because I do like Glorious Eggroll's work. It's very, very good. Do like a JSON escape. Yeah, so I pasted this in, and what I'm thinking now is like, no, I don't really want to do that. I'd much rather just call it. And I'm trying to think of how I want to do the call for it. I'd much rather put this in its own function, a private function, and then call that private function from the script itself, from JSON. But I don't think I've actually set that up in here. I think it would work. I just can't remember for the life of me if I set that functionality up or if someone else did. And I want to say it would, maybe. Let's try it. I think that's the best way, just to give it a whirl. Let's say we go new file. Let's say, how do we want to name this? I'll call it probably uninstall WinUtil. This is a whole new naming convention. I don't think I've ever tried this method first, but all right, let's go new file, uninstall dash WinUtil Edge browser. You might be thinking, why the name WinUtil before all this stuff? Typically, I think when we're loading run spaces, anything that doesn't have WinUtil in there wouldn't actually work. Let's grab this. Just gonna standardization, label exactly what it is, and we're gonna just change some of the theming here. Synopsis. Let's change that. This will uninstall Edge by changing the region to Ireland and uninstalling Edge, then changing it back. Good. And then we'll just take that and paste our, grab our Edge removal. Oh no, come on Edge. What's happening? Windows didn't like me for a second. Sometimes my looking glass, I notice, kind of bombs out on me. Come on. Don't you die on me. Windows, don't you die on me. Come on now. Oh yeah, file existence. Thanks, Jack. Come on. I killed it. I don't want to forcibly shut down this VM either. I'm gonna lose my work. No. All right, well, that's okay. Freaking hate Windows. Come back alive. What happened? What happened here? Why are you dying on me? So what we could try to save the state, do a suspend, and then pull it back that way. I'm gonna do that. Since we're using VFIO, it's not gonna allow the suspension to happen. Yeah. We could. Okay, that would be ridiculous. But I was just thinking to myself, I was like, I could set up another host and then migrate the VM to that host. That way it wouldn't come down. Just need to install some high availability here. 1 second. Damn. Unfortunate. Give it a second. 5 seconds and it'll be ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're live. And we're live. And we're live. There we go. We're back. Now I did have autosave going, so maybe it caught most of it. It did. We're good. We're gravy. Freaking out for no reason. Okay. So we got that. Paste that in here. We should have that guy. Let's rename this. Jack mentioned earlier. I forgot the extension. PS1. It's kind of important. We got our synopsis, our update. This would run. Do that. So uninstall WinUtil Edge Browser PS1. And this whole functions. Uninstall this. And I think really that should work. I thought the Titus in your name was a reference to Titus Welliver. Oh, no. Not that I know of. I know the comedian, Chris Titus. Yeah, I think what we'll do, Drift, is call it from the invoke script. That was my thought. I haven't actually done this yet on the tweaks. So when I was looking at edge removal, Drift, so let's go remove edge. Remove edge. Yeah. So right here is how we're doing it. And I think we could just do uninstall WinUtil Edge browser right here from a private. We've actually never, or at least I haven't ever done it this way. I think it would work. But then again, I don't know for certain if that would. Let's do a compile and check. Oh, was it done on the PowerShell in 7 tweak? Oh, nice. See, you coded that, I think. Yeah. So invoke WPF tweak PS7. Which, where did you put that? Oh, you put it in the public, didn't you? Now that I'm thinking about this, I think I want to push it to the public tab, would I not? For the tweak? It is more private though. It's not actually public facing. So yeah. Let's give it a whirl. Let's do a compile. And then PS1. Oops. WinUtil. And we're going to just pull up WinUtil PS1. And go to tweaks. We should have remove edge not recommended right here. Let's say run tweaks. And then that's it. Yeah, that worked. I actually really like that. That is very, very clean. Why is it not recommended? Well, I guess it is recommended now once we do this push. I don't think we want to push yet because I think we wanted to look at a PR from OG. Because he was doing a massive refactor and cleanup. Will it break something? I don't know. It's a pretty big one. All right. So before we do anything, let me just show you the insanity of this PR. And this is going to break almost all PRs in here after we do it. But basically, this workflow is going through and removing white spaces and fixing like a lot of spacing in the actual script. So if this goes awry, it's not going to be good, but it does clean up and save a ton of space on the runtime. So it should actually shrink the file by a good margin. But you'll notice almost all of it that is doing, I want to say, where is that? Invoke preprocessing. All this preprocessing is doing is pulling in and replacing all these and trimming the ends of the files and spaces. So if there's an extra space on a line, it's going to remove that space. I think it does also a preprocessing to look at the file versioning as well. But I could be wrong with that. Anywho, it's pretty cool. I've looked at it. We got to check it out. We got to try it. I feel like we should just merge it and then deal with the aftermath because I really, really dig it. It's such a cool idea. Yeah, let's go. I don't think we've had a break the repo commit in a while. This one definitely could do it. He went through meticulously. OG's been working on this one for 3 weeks, and I'm merging it. It's a big one. It's huge. So let's do it. This won't remove WebView. So Kotek, the whole purpose of this new, like honestly, this whole stream pretty much came into a let's remove edge in an elegant manner that doesn't break Windows. Is almost every edge removal script I've used ends up kind of breaking us American-based versions of Windows. And I hate that. So what we ended up doing was that whole region switch to like the EU, uninstalling Edge, and then switching it back to the US, but only uninstalling Edge, leaving WebView 2 and other dependencies. So Visual Studio will work. Your Forza game will work. Those things have some weird dependencies that like WebView 2 has, and there's a couple other weird like login things that Edge is needed, but it leaves those remnants so it shouldn't break anything. And then, since it's done in such an elegant manner instead of the brute force method we have been using, you can reinstall Edge by just going to Edge, download, install, and it's good. So instead of setting all these different group policies and all this other stuff, none of that. Just region change, uninstall, region change back, and that's it. Oh yeah, Pickly. We're gonna do Linutil on Thursday. Yeah, Thursdays we're gonna hit up Linux Toolbox. So for the non-Windows users, I got you. Well, I love that too. I'm looking forward to Thursday. I was almost kind of dreading today, and we still didn't get through all the PRs. All right, we merged this in. Let's do a pull down of this. Get pull. Okay. Let's best way to do the merge. I'll just redo it. It's fine. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just discard these changes. Get pull. All right, grabbed all those. Then we got that. Perfect. Let's discard this Winutil. Then come back into our tweaks. And because I really don't want to screw up OG's merge, and I actually want to try it out. Now, edge. Oh, was it remove edge or edge remove? Remove edge. Now it's edge remove. Wait. Oh, wrong file. Okay. Then we just invoke that script. Bam. Perfect. Bob is your mother. Done. Perfect. So this is going to be the edge removal. And honestly, before we commit this, let's change the not recommended, actually. I can now take it from there. Jack. Is Jack still here? You are now going to be immortalized in the toolbox. Techie Jack. Here we go. Credit goes to Techie Jack on this one. Bam. You now are going to be directly in the toolbox. Credit to you for this amazing script. We had the idea, but you made it a reality. Now, let's do a commit. Edge removal. Just fix. Commit. Push. And that is there. So we'll do a pre-release probably after this. I do want to do another pull down for this. And when we launch in... Oh, wait. Let's launch into Winutil, test everything out. So everything launches just fine. A little bit faster. Man, I didn't get to micro win. You know what? We're going to have to do a second stream tonight. I think probably here in like 4 or 5 hours, we'll do another stream for 4 or 5 hours on micro win. So I really wanted to do the ISO builds. And I'm going to run out of time on this session. Because micro-win is something I keep trying to get to, and then I just never can get through the code review and the PRs fast enough, and then I get sidetracked and end up saying, hey, what's a more elegant way of removing edge? And then sitting there pounding around on that idea for 3 hours instead of working on micro-win. I'm like, damn it. Come on, Chris. Come on. You got this. Well, get some sleep. I'll be back in 4 or 5 hours. I'll probably stream for another 4 or 5 hours later today then. Yeah, so Microwin's doing a pretty good job of removing a lot of this stuff. And I'll probably go through and clean up. I've been meaning to touch Microwin. I just never can quite get enough time to touch it. And then when I do have the time, I'm like, I'd rather spend it on something else. Yeah. So anyways, this looks amazing. One more pull down and we should have a little bit. No, there's nothing in the fetch. Let's check. Is this still 8.6? Yeah, it's 8.6. Okay. And then if we look at tweaks, doesn't look like that recompiled though. Okay, there he goes. Now we'll just force it in for now. I just wanted to check this one more time. So we'll run that tweak. Tweak's finished. And then in the background on this window should show the setup exe not found. But if we had an install of Microsoft Edge, it would. I like it. All right, perfect. What do we think about all that? Now, what's happening here? Dang. Okay. So that compile does look like it changed a bunch of stuff on the flows. Uh-oh. We might have a problem with this PR. No, it's not messing with the spacing, I don't think. What happens if you undo that tweak? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's a good question, JR. We should do like a winget install of that. Oh, no. It would install it. Here, let's just do it real fast. We can show the undo. This is always good things to ask. So we just say undo selected. So it says it's already there, trying to upgrade install package, no upgrade found. I see you. All right. So it didn't do anything, kind of what I thought, but that's all right. Just add a little force. We won't be a gentleman about it. All right, here we go. Now, let's do a compile run. I do have a little bit of concerns on how many freaking things that thing is changing. I'm not sure on that pre-processing deal. I know OG worked so hard on it, but man, that is just changing so many files. All right, here we go. Undo. Here we go. Undo. In the background here, we should see it installing. Successfully installing. Undo tweaks finished. So let's close out. Bye-bye. All right. See you later. Sayonara. So then we go Edge. Microsoft Edge. Nope. Let's see if it's an apps. It's probably just my search bar not updating. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, we probably need a reboot. Yeah, so Winget's not installing properly. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh my god, the irony. Microsoft created Winget. It's compatible with thousands, tens of thousands of pieces of software. And the one thing it's not compatible with is Microsoft Edge. God. $1 trillion company. Can't get some basic shit right. All right. That's okay. It could be. Let's give it a reboot. Maybe it did install and just there's some residual files like people are saying. Let's see. Well, yeah. So, yeah, Lamb, you could just download Microsoft Edge and then just click the Edge installer and it'd be fine. But I wanted to be more elegant where if someone does uninstall or remove Edge tweak, it would install Edge because the undo of a remove is install. Will people actually do that? There'll be somebody that does it, but most people will just probably go and install Edge in other methods. But it's good to know that Edge's Winget installer is broken. Well, I think it's broken. We'll see on the reboot here. Yeah, probably didn't expect us to figure out how to uninstall it properly, huh? So, looking at this, do we have Edge? I don't think we do. Shows we do, but we don't. Yeah, so the proper way to get Edge back installed would be just to download Edge. Good night. I'll have to make an installer for them. Too funny. I guess I'll make an installer for Microsoft Edge since their Winget installer doesn't work. It's kind of hilarious. Okay. So now Edge is reinstalled properly, and then we would just uninstall it. I am a little concerned about this compile though. Let's look at this just to see. No, it's just extra spaces. Dude, that's a pretty killer script made by OG. It's freaking me out a little bit, to be honest. As it should. But that is neat. All these little extra white spaces, it just goes through and is like, hey, you're extra, delete. You're extra, delete. You're extra. What changed here? Anyhow. That's good. Yeah, all the rest of it looks good. So we're going to call this, it's going to look like a complete shit show of a commit. But this is Edge removal fix. Like the third push with that. I probably should call it something different now, but so be it. What is harder, uninstalling Edge or defeating Elden Ring bosses? I would say uninstalling Edge. When I played the DLC right on launch, and I remember, what is that first major boss in the castle with the moon fireblade lady or whatever, or dude, I don't know if that's a dude or a lady, with the swords. I remember that one took me like 45 minutes to beat. A brutal slog of a fight. But at the end of the day, it was 45 minutes of just killing myself and then getting past it. This has been like 5 hours of going at it, dying, coming back, going at it, dying, coming back. So, you know, From Software better step it up if they want to compete with Microsoft. That's just my 2 cents. Yeah, OG, that was a legit PR. Scary as hell of a PR because of the pre-processing. but a very, very cool PR. Now, the problem with the PR now, if we go into the WinUtils, now we got to close almost everything that's there. Because you'll notice, if we go into here, everybody's got to update their branch on the PRs. Let's go into just something simple. Like this one. Honestly, we're going to close this out anyways. Oh, actually, you could still merge it if you wanted. Anywho, ended up rewriting this into a built-in function. Oh, set up a chat bot? Yeah, I kind of have one with StreamerBot. StreamerBot's been pretty good. That's how I've been able to get most of Twitch and YouTube kind of talking with each other. And I didn't want to like do a lot of the chat bots that spam chat. I hate that. I'm just like, ugh. You guys know how bad I am at reading chat. Now just imagine chatbot or Nightbot or whatever it is spamming it. I would just never read chat. It would be awful. I would miss so many more chats. I know. Oh, well, if you make it really quiet, I'm good. As long as it doesn't spam chat. That's the big thing. Okay. Well, offline, Rux, we'll talk. All right, remove compiled files, ignored files. I think all that's good. That's another really good, I'm sure this is a really good PR too from Martin. Martin usually has some really good ones. That's one I just want to look at a little bit more as well. Obviously, gonna have to resolve the conflicts with a WinUtil. I love this PR. It's just, oof. A few things, one thing at a time. All right. Well, I think for today, well, you know what? We'll come back for micro in later, I think. If I have it in me tonight, I'll stream later tonight. We'll hit it up with some micro in action. But for today, I think we've accomplished a lot with edge removal, some huge PRs. Big shout out to OG, Techie Jack. Thank you guys. That was some amazing contributions. So we'll keep hammering away at this. I really, really have, you know, it's just a lot of it when it comes to fixing Windows. You just kind of have to keep baby steps at a time. It's an impossible task, but there's no company that could possibly do it. Now, I think the open source community's probably the closest solution we could ever get to this with, you know, hundreds of contributors going through, submitting code, me dedicating a ton of time with the Windows utility every week. I think eventually we can get it to a spot where you just run it, you press one button, and it's just a lot better of an experience than what you'd get without. And that's pretty much where we're at now. It's just maintaining that and improving upon that position is a difficult endeavor, but one I definitely enjoy at times. Other times, it's like beating an Elden Ring boss. I think that's a great analogy. When you're in it, you're like, this is awful. Why is it like this? Why is this not working? And then when you finally do defeat it, you're like, yes! And that's where we're at with Windows Utility. But thanks for everybody coming out. Later tonight, look for a second stream. And then Thursday, we will be doing the Linux Toolbox. And we'll get it. All right, y'all. Peace.